This is fun.
Hey, Vanity Fair, I'm Jamie Foxx.
I'm Shailene Woodley.
I'm Yeun, and I'm here to revisit scenes from my career.
Some of these are probably going to be pretty visceral.
Let's go. Scene selection. Let's torture ourselves.
Hello, I'm Anne Hathaway, and today I will be rewatching scenes from throughout my career.
You're late.
I know, I'm really sorry about it.
And where is Paolo?
Send in Paolo.
Regina mia, buongiorno.
We're so pleased you could make yourself available to be here.
I'm sorry, I just have to pause there and say, how radiant is Julie Andrews? I was 17 years old when we made this, and so I hadn't met as many people yet in my life. And so I knew Gary Marshall was really special, and I knew Julie Andrews was really special. But now sitting here watching this from this point of view, they're two of the most magical people I have ever met. This was the film that changed my life. Like, it's so weird to watch it. I haven't seen this movie in maybe 20 years, and I'm a little bit speechless with this one. It's very emotional to see it.
Like a wolf. He's all right.
So he really had to break the brush in this. They pre-broke the brush and it was supposed to break kind of easily, but it didn't quite happen. So that's me and Larry kind of improvising, trying to get it to go. And I don't remember if the owl was real or if I was just buying him some time. But the brush was being stubborn that day.
Take this, and give you
A princess.
I don't know what to say. It's like it's almost too big to... It felt so big at the time, and it wound up being so big, and it's kind of just gotten bigger as my life has progressed. So this is total fusion of life and work and all the things. And I'm just so proud to be in this movie. I'm really glad that I'm that girl right there.
This is foul. Don't let her see it.
Emily is so brilliant in this movie. I mean, period, but like, also she's just like insane. Are you? Sorry, I just have to pause. Just so you understand, all of you have seen this movie way more recently than I have. It's been, if not over a decade, maybe 2 decades since I've seen this movie. So this is amazing.
Yeah, I came to New York to be a journalist and sent letters out everywhere and finally got a call from Elias Clark and met with Sherry up at Human Resources, and basically it's this or Auto Universe.
So you don't read Runway?
I was there the first time Meryl walked into that set, and I saw the way she respected the work of our production designer, but also like crafted it into something that felt more the way she saw the character. And I was such a sponge around her. I just wanted to absorb everything the way she did it. Look at that wig. Oh my God, Roy J. Helland, who is the next level at his craft.
And you have no style or sense of fashion?
Well,
And just look at my wonderful costume. I mean, I know the costumes wind up becoming more glamorous, but I have to say that is post-grad frump gorgeousness right there. I remember thinking the corduroy of the jacket felt like the right choice, and I knew that color sweater, the kind of bruised lilac, wasn't the most flattering on me. So, sorry, I'm taking up too much time. Oh my gosh, reminiscing is fun.
That wasn't a question.
I was editor-in-chief of the Daily Northwestern.
She's being very
I also won a national competition for college journalists with my series on the Janitors Union, which exposed the exploitation of...
When you were shooting this film, did you have any sense for how huge it would become?
Yeah, I did. Not as huge as it's become, but I just it had a magnetic quality to me that I had to be a part of it. Not this, though. Not the way that it's just sort of woven into the culture now and it's become such a touchstone for so many people. I didn't realize it was going to have such a lasting impression, so I didn't realize it was going to be leave such a legacy. every second. I remember every second of all of this, but I remember every second of this.
It is Mr. Wayne, isn't it?
I'm so thrilled I'm in this movie.
You wouldn't beat up a woman any more than I would beat up a cripple.
Oh, that's such a good edit.
Sometimes exceptions have to be made.
Oh man, I worked so hard on this backflip.
Good night, Mr. Wayne.
Christopher Nolan came to me at the beginning of production and he said, I'd like you to train very hard for this. It has nothing to do with anything except that I would like you to do as many of your stunts as possible, as much as of the fighting. Anything that, you know, isn't like a ridiculously special skill set, like riding the bat pod, I want to be you. And I want you to be able to do it every single take, and sometimes we film these sequences for 3 days. And I said, sign me up, no problem. And so I went straight to the gym. And up to this point, this was the hardest I'd ever trained for a role physically. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was everything to me growing up. So when I found out that there was a chance for someone of my generation to play Selena Kyle, I was just like, I'm with Christopher Nolan and this franchise that was so unlike anything that had ever been. I wanted to do her justice. And it's kind of cool to see it right after those first 2 roles where I was playing such kind of younger women who were a little insecure and unsure of themselves. They're stuttering a little bit more. And to see the scene begin that, and then that oops happens.
Oops. Nobody told me it was uncrackable.
I'm kind of amazed that this happened and that's me. That's really cool.
There was a time when love was blind, and the world was a song, and the song was exciting.
I just feel really bad for her. So my mother played this part, and we were talking about it, just the song and the interpretation. And I told her that I sort of imagined, when you're watching a match go out and you just hope it stays alight, but it shrinks. And you just want it to hold on, but it doesn't. That's what this song is for me. It's the extinguishing of a flame, which is just so sad. So when I see that, I'm watching someone's life like drain out of them. So it's hard to watch.
There are dreams that cannot be, and there are storms we cannot weather.
The thing that was so magical about singing live is that you're in some ways the conductor and the performer at the same time. Like right at the end, you can see I kind of felt some emotion come up and I took a few extra breaths. If you're on stage or in maybe a larger number, or if you're doing it to a track, you have to decide all of those things in advance. And so a spontaneous thing occurring like that, it might not make it into the movie. And so being able to do it live allowed us a certain amount of emotional freedom. It also demanded quite a lot of technical precision. I found the process fascinating. It was hard, but that's the kind of hard that you pray for.
I had a dream my life would be so different from this hell I'm living.
Russell Crowe was such an important part of the process because he would have us over on Friday nights and we would sing in front of each other. And that was such a huge part of breaking down nervousness and fear and us getting used to just being this film family, this cast, this ensemble, where singing was just as normal as talking. I don't know that they've done a live sung musical since. It had never been attempted before. So I don't know, we went through something really beautiful. This is a surprise.
I did some online sleuthing for a Solheim of Silver Lake, and I have this fairly large empty flat in London that desperately needs some artwork. So I was thinking maybe you could...
Okay. I'm wearing vintage Chanel in this, and that purple on the top became such an essential thread to my character because she is a gallery owner, and so she really responds like in an almost psychedelic way to color, and that color like led me through finding her. So much of this movie is about a woman's bloom at a stage in her life where where women are often told that we're going too dull, but actually she opens and learns more. And so the color palette in this movie was so important. And anyway, I'm just really enjoying seeing it.
So these pieces were thrown by a fantastic potter we work with called Susan Habel.
She threw them at the wall?
No, that's what they call it when they do the work on the wheel. It's called throwing.
Right.
Right. This was the audition scene. We met with amazing, amazing actors for this role. And Nick kind of had the part from the second he just walked in. He was just it. He was everything we needed. We needed such a specific talent for this. Like, the movie needed it. He needed to be able to sing, act, dance. He needed to be charming. You needed to, we're so lucky that Nick Galitzine is here. This has actually been a joy. And I'm really proud to have a filmography that makes me so happy. Thanks for watching.
I'm Mike Myers, and I'm going to revisit some of my scenes from throughout my career. All right.
Okay, I still live with my parents, which I admit is both bogus and sad. But at least I've got an amazing...
You know, Canadians have this rise at the end, so every statement sounds like a question. So even if it's snowing, obviously, they'll go, "It's snowing?"
I've got an amazing cable access show, and I still know how to party.
And it's kind of like, linguistically, it's called the Canadian rise, which is, I'm gonna talk, then it goes down. And that means it's your turn to talk. So it's like, the other day, a guy came up to me, and he was really mad. Now it's your turn to talk, because I went down. And that's the accent for Wayne. But I put it in Chicago, because there's an Aurora in Chicago, and there's an Aurora just north of Toronto.
Ah, the Mirthmobile.
You had no money, so I thought the most that they could get is an AMC Pacer, and then they would put flames, decals of flames coming out of the wheel well.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very...
But what I remember most about this was fighting very, very hard for it to be Bohemian Rhapsody. And they didn't want to do it. They wanted to do Guns N' Roses, which I love Guns N' Roses, but I didn't have anything funny for it. And then Lauren was like, "You really want it?" I went, "Yeah." So Lauren fought for it on my behalf, Lauren Michaels. And Dana and I talked about 5 days ago about our necks still hurt from bum 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 bum. That was easily 200 takes over 2 nights in some town, I want to say El Segundo or Cerritos outside of Los Angeles. But I just couldn't believe I was in a movie.
It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine.
What was so much fun about this scene was the director, Penelope Spheris, who I fought very hard to be the director, even though she didn't have any comedy credits. She had done The Decline of the Western Civilization, a documentary about heavy metal that was so incredibly awesome and authentic. I knew that she would get the heavy metal part of it, and she knocked it out of the park.
Au contraire, baby. I think you can't resist me.
You're the one who makes me come running.
I'd always liked the Divinyls. I just couldn't believe there was a song called I Touch Myself, which, just to be honest, I still slightly, I may be blushing.
You're the sun who makes me shine when you're around.
There's something about sexuality that is corny. People get very, very serious about their sexiness, and to me it always makes me laugh because it's almost too arch, you know what I mean? So overt sexuality makes me laugh, and especially like really contrived dirty jokes make me laugh. The fembots is something, it's a little bit from $6 Million Man, And it's a little bit from one of the Matt Helm movies. But I needed somehow to show that he has mojo. The reveal of the chest hair was just when I was a kid marveling at Sean Connery being part man, part beast, a crazy amount of chest hair. He had a pelt, if you will, more than chest hair. That scene was choreographed by a fantastic choreographer, Marguerite Derrick, who did all of the choreography for all the Austin Powers films. An absolute genius, because what she would do is go, what do you got? I took jazz dancing and tap as a child in Toronto. I would show her my moves, very, very influenced by Fosse. I had a fantastic prop man named Eugene McCarthy, and every prop that I had, Eugene McCarthy made it funnier, more user-friendly, just better than anything I could have imagined. So these are, one of the first movies I was doing, and I was very, very spoiled by just, what great artists I got a chance to work with, like Marguerite Derrick and Eugene McCarthy and Jay Roach and all of the people.
Excellent, Basil. We've been trying for years to get a mole inside Dr. Evil's lair, and we now have that mole.
Yes. Ah, and here he is.
So you're the...
Now, the reason I did the mole joke is that I just recently had it removed, but I had a giant mole on my face. And I had just gotten on Saturday Night Live, and these college girls, the kind of like Mean Girls, right? Were walking by. I was looking in a window, and they went, "That looks like Mike Myers." And I sort of did like that. She goes, "That's not Mike Myers. He's got that big, ugly mole on his face." And I was like, every time she said it, was like I got smacked in the face. "Yeah, you've never seen that mole? That big, ugly mole? Yeah, he's got a mole." And they said it like 20 times. And so it always just stayed in my head, mole, mole, mole.
Mole. Mole.
Oh, shut up! Mole, 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 mole.
That was improvised. One of the things with Jay Roach, the director, is we always get the scripted take, and then we get a series for what we call shizzies and gizzies, just to see what we got. More often than not, we'll pull from that take, usually to button a scene.
Listen, little donkey. Take a look at me. What am I?
Really tall?
No! I'm an ogre. You know.
Fairy tales were about the class system. You know what I mean? You had worker people, and then you had this people who were, for no reason, the king and queen. They weren't elected or anything. So I always thought that ogres were working people, growing up as a working person. So I thought I tried it as a Canadian. And it just didn't have any oomph. And then I said, can I record it again as Scottish? Because I know, fairy tales are a Eurocentric form. Scottish people are near and dear to me. I have relatives in Scotland and background in Scottish, and they're working people. It's a working people accent. And they went, no, we like it the way it is. And I said, oh, come on, just let me. Steven Spielberg said, well, why don't you try it once?
Okay. But one night only. Ah, thank you!
He sent me a lovely letter, Steven Spielberg, saying, you're so right. It's way better as Scottish. Thank you so much. They spent some money, but not the amount of money that has been reported in the press, I'd like to point out. And by the way, I recorded it all for free one more time, and just happy to do so because I wanted it to be good. And there we have Shrek being Scottish.
This is gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles. Oh! Where do I sleep?
I never saw Eddie Murphy until the press junket, but I fell in love with Donkey just hearing his voice through the headphones, and then when you start to see the animation, and I love that character, Donkey, and I wish Donkey lived in my house. I love that character so much.
Y'all just kidnapped a black man.
We've been kidnapping white men for years. We want to give you an opportunity as well.
What if the world was run by 5 people, but what if they were nice and not evil, that they were a benevolent secret society? I guess that's the Canadian in me, who has an eternal trust of government, because government's been very good to this Canadian. And what if a very unlikely local Canadian newscaster was the only person who could uncover the Pentaveret, who must never be exposed? I wanted to make something silly and fun, and something that's cinematic and has big sets and helicopters and stuff like that, because those are the type of movies that I grew up on and I love. And I wanted to make something that is a little like how British TV, where they make 6 and they go, that's it, unless we want to do more, but it's designed to be 6.
Basically, we're the good guys. We want you to trust us.
Why should I trust you, white man? Whiter man? Older whiter man? I don't know what the hell to make out of you.
The world is a little anti-expert right now. And the basic thing I just wanted to say was, it's a high tide that floats all boats, expertise. Everybody benefits from smart people and experts. But the experts need to serve the people, and the people need to trust the experts. But it's way sillier than that. It's everything I loved doing with Austin Powers. I was on Saturday Night Live, I did a character called Lothar of the Hill People, and it's always, holy shit, there's Lothar. And I'm like, of everything I've done, Lothar of the Hill People is the one. And I always go, yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Anna Kendrick, and I'm about to watch some scenes from my career. Let's torture ourselves.
How do you know Scott? He's a friend. It's hard for me to keep track sometimes because he has so many friends.
I forgot how passive-aggressive and awful Stacy is. It's awesome. Brian Lee O'Malley, who did the graphic novel, it's based on his real sister, Stacy. I love that she's just a little shit stirrer. What an angel. I'll be honest, when I read this script, I was like, I don't totally get this, but I love Shaun of the Dead, I love Hot Fuzz, and I just wanted to work with Edgar Wright. But I do remember like this on paper being like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but I'm just gonna trust that he sees it, which he did. It's so awesome. This is the first fight in the movie, the first kind of like sequence that goes crazy, and then the bad guy, Satya, starts singing like a song. And I remember sort of being the only one to be like, I think that this might be a tough buy for the audience. Nobody like asked me to, but I remember when we were doing my single, just doing a bunch of reactions of like, what's going on? Like, someone explain this to me. I wasn't sure if Edgar was gonna be like, what are you talking about? And then he used a couple of those reaction shots, and that made me feel happy.
It's nice meeting you. Tell your gay friends I said bye. Gay friends?
Wallace, again?
The crash zoom thing at the end of this, once Kieran has fully stolen my boyfriend by the end of this scene, we had to do that crash zoom so many times because Edgar's so hyper-specific. He doesn't even let you blink. He doesn't let you blink. There would be specific times where he was like, oh, like a purposefully timed blink here would be okay. This was very generous of him. He wanted me to turn, react, then the crash zoom happens, then I say the line or something like that. Bill Pope, the cinematographer, ended up taking over just even operating the camera and the crash zoom. And I could see like every time we would kind of overcompensate for the other where we had like missed the moment perfectly. And it just took forever. To this day with Edgar, I'm like, I do my own crash zooms. So the joke is that like, if you need to do a crash zoom on me, I'll just like get myself really close to the camera. People don't like that. The director, Jason Moore, and I, everywhere we filmed, If we saw a cup, we would just steal it. We had this like weird collection to like try out once we got to this stage. We don't know what the surface of the stage is really gonna sound like. Then we had to justify that the cup was there. So yeah, someone came up with the pencils and pens thing. I did think it was funny to just like dump it out in front of them. It feels very much like when a cat like is testing you and is like, what if I knocked this over? What would you do?
You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair. You're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, I know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
I had to sing something to prove that I could do it. And I was like, oh, well, I know this thing because I'm a dork and I learned to do this thing with a cup and there's this song. And they were like, oh, let's put that in the movie. The audition song was supposed to be I'm a Little Teacup, which to this day, I've never asked the writer, Kay Cannon, like, how was that supposed to play? Like, was it supposed to just be like a really good rendition of I'm a Little Teacup? Because I don't think I would have been able to pull that off.
When I'm gone, when I'm gone.
I had no idea that this moment would become what it became. When Universal was like, we should make a whole music video for this, I was like, what? Who would want that? Egg on my face. Now, when I watch it, I can see I'm like rushing the back half of the phrase each time. I'm being nitpicky, but it wasn't until I had to record the song like so that Universal could release it as a single, which again, at the time I was like, who's gonna want that? The music supervisor was like, I'm gonna put a metronome in there so that you stop rushing it. Because I think you do get nervous and you're trying to just like do it really quickly. It's like a weird nails on chalkboard thing for me to watch this a little bit.
Lounging in their
caftans
and planning a brunch on their own behalf.
Okay, wait, can we stop? I haven't even come on screen yet and I'm freaking out. This is great. I really want to be here doing this. This is awesome. No, roll it. I can do it.
I knew you'd be discussing stopping the show, and I just thought how disappointed all the kids would be.
You scheming little bitch.
Please, I'm a child.
What is my voice even?
Save the speech, Rummy. She's fucked, I'm ready, and the goddamn show must go on.
I think I'm 16 or 17 here. This is horrifying. Let's continue. I'm supposed to be dressed up as a middle-aged woman in this scene, and I still look like I'm 12 years old.
They get depressed, it's a bottle of scotch, plus a little jest.
This was my first movie. This was a non-union film. I got paid $75 a day, and only on the days that I was acting. Everybody in this movie went and lived in that camp, basically. We were all just up there, and there was no cell service, no Wi-Fi. I mean, basically the fact that we had running water was a miracle. So it wasn't the glamorous money-making prospect that I hoped my first movie would be.
Another chance to disapprove.
Oh, hey, that was some nice vibrato. Okay.
Another reason not to move. Another vodka stinger.
That was the first time I was introduced to the idea of sugar glass, but it would still like get into my skin a little bit. It would like tiny little, almost like paper cuts, not as bad as paper cuts. Each take I'd get little tiny bits of it in, and there'd be kind of like just little dots of blood, wounds, whatever. And they kept being like, oh, well, let's go take care of you and let's, get first aid or whatever. And I remember being like, no, I'm fine, and feeling like such a fucking hero for being like, I can continue, everyone. Oh my God. I was 16. What do you want?
Let's hear it for the ladies who lunch. Everybody rise.
The hard part of coming from theater was that we'd finish a take and I would be like, was that good? It was very weird to not have that immediate feedback and to just like look at one guy, the director, and be like, so was that good? And he was like, yeah, we can move on. And that's all you get. So like adjusting to that was tricky. I think I was pretty in my head about how it was going. But I do remember this day actually was the first time that I was like, oh, I think it's going good. The director used the phrase lightning in a bottle, which I was like, I don't know what that means yet, but I think it's good. Yeah, like our tiny little weird movie that we were making, it was like, well, we do like the scene where the insane 12-year-old poisons a girl and sings Sondheim. Nailed it.
When we were 5, they asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up. Our answers were things like astronaut, president, or in my case, a princess. But now that we've grown up, they want a serious answer. Well, how about this? Who the hell knows?
Can I just say, I've said this before, but I am just okay in this scene, at best. After we finished filming this scene, the producers were like, oh, we thought you were gonna do that thing you do, because in New Moon, I'm like rambling as we're exiting a movie theater, and I ended up like going on this tangent about zombie movies and stuff that wasn't scripted. They kept it all in, and then they gave me this speech, and they were like, oh, we thought you were just gonna like do whatever with it, but I thought that because it was like a speech that I should just stick to the script.
This isn't the time to make hard and fast decisions. This is the time to make mistakes. Take the wrong train and get stuck somewhere. Fall in love. A lot. Major in philosophy because there's no way to make a career out of that.
I mostly remember being like, oh, okay, like the scene went okay, like I don't know, maybe they'll cut it, I don't know. And then seeing it in the movie theater, it really was like one of those things where you have a better understanding of like the role that editing plays, because every time they cut to Kristen, she is so good and she is being so moved by what I'm saying. I can't even remember if I was doing this off camera or if they like shot this on a different day or something. Like either is possible. But like, yeah, you do a little push in on Kristen and suddenly you're like, wow, this speech is amazing, because she thinks the speech is amazing. I'm doing the bare minimum. I don't know what I'm doing. It's very mid, honestly. Cut to her and you're like, I don't know, maybe Jessica's onto something here. So thanks, Kristen.
I can't. What? I can't do another thing wrong. I can't do another thing wrong.
This was actually kind of the line and the moment where I knew, oh, I want to do this movie. When she starts having the panic attack and is saying, you don't understand, I can't do another thing wrong, because that resonated with me so much. It just like cuts to the heart of being in that kind of relationship. When you get into that like regressed, panicked state, like those kind of simple sentences come out and you're like, oh, this is really messed up. I remember that white sweater that I'm wearing. They kept trying to like clean it off in between takes from the sand. And I remember at a certain point just going like, I can't. And that was kind of all I needed to say for everybody to just know like, you know what, it's fine if there's sand on the sweater. Because everybody on set kind of understood the material and what that kind of experience is like. Something just as small as kind of like starting half a sentence and like my body language shifting was enough to be like, you know what, let's prioritize just like giving the performer some space. That kind of like ease of communication really helped me on this movie.
Alice, what does that even mean?
No, I lied to him. He doesn't even know that I'm here.
What?
I mean, he does now. He called.
Well, why did you lie to him?
Because I'm bad.
My scene partner in that Gañadillo was like so amazing. I was really obsessed with her. She's very like her character in the movie. She's like such a badass, and I'm very drawn to like tall, stoic women. So I think I followed her around set like a baby bird most of the movie. My goal every day was to make her laugh, because getting a laugh out of Gañadillo was like hard to earn. It's like when a cat crawls into your lap and you're like, nobody move. That was a hard day, but it was also fun because I had a great scene partner and I like was totally in love with her. Is that weird?
You wouldn't love me if you knew how bad I am.
Jesus, is that something that he tells you?
We bonded really quickly, I think, because we knew that the material was really challenging emotionally. And, you know, it's just one of those things where you're like, well, we could get to know each other slowly, or we could just like rip the Band-Aid off and be like, hey, here's everything that's ever happened to me. And I know that I actually have a bad habit of doing that. I call it like a classic Kendrick overshare, because every situation that I leave, I'm like, Anna, why did you say that? Like constantly telling secrets and gossip about my own life to people. Well, that was fun and hurt my heart. I hope you all enjoyed looking at my weird baby face for that long.
Hey, Vanity Fair, I'm Jamie Foxx, AKA Kendrick Lamar, and we're gonna watch some scenes from some of my movies. Yes. Ooh, get him, B. Get him, B. B and J Hud. It's Beyonce, man. Like, Beyonce is almost too talented for Earth. Like, when you listen to a Beyonce record, it's like, what the f, this is some alien shit. Like, she can sing every octave. She's like the most talented. It's so quiet. You know, she would do her thing and cut. And be like, what? She's the most talented. Who is this dude? No head hair. When you watch this movie, it's about music, right? And everybody's like, oh, Jamie Foxx is such a heel. You know where I got the most compliments? Other music executives. I don't get it. Without you, what would they have done? You took that piece of coal and made it a diamond. I was like, you guys are heartless. I was the asshole. It's like, I don't get it. You were valuable. I remember Oprah. I didn't like you playing a bad guy, Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is not a bad guy. You know, when Oprah started singing. Jamie Foxx. But when we were putting it together, I said, if the guy isn't bad, then the other characters don't have anything to get over.
I'm not going, even though there are times I show.
When it came to the big scene where she had to say, and I am telling, I said, take your time with that. That song and that moment is like the one. And you watch her in the process of it really find the spirituality of that character. And we watched it on set. We watched her set. She just won whatever award. She just won it right there. We were at a premiere, and it was like a big premiere. You know, the big stars and them. Man, she got through singing. They was on their feet. Standing ovation in the premiere. She was amazing. All right, let's get into Collateral. Yeah, Collateral. Okay.
If somebody had a gun to your head and said, you got to tell me what's going on with this person over here, or I'm going to kill you. What is driving him?
Michael Mann.
You know, you couldn't do it, could you? Because they would have to kill your ass because you don't know what anyone else is thinking.
The car that's pulling us, the exhaust was somehow floating into the car, bro. And I had slept, 12, 13 hours because it's Tom Cruise. As soon as I get in there, take it in. I said, what the hell? Why am I sleeping? The director, wake your ass! I said, I don't know what's going on. And they found out that the exhaust was, so they had to switch it around because I was snoozing. You know how you fall asleep, you don't know you're asleep? They hit you. Yeah, Top Gun. He was asleep too. We shot that on a video. It wasn't film. So Michael Mann loves to do long takes. I'm driving the cab, Tom's in the back, and we're just driving, but the takes were long, and we shot at night. So imagine 5 in the morning, and I was like, whew, I hope I don't kill the Top Gun.
Cute title. Who wrote it?
I did.
Ah, you wrote it.
Yeah.
Well, sing it to me, man.
Sing it?
Yeah. It ain't like I could read the lyrics.
Okay. Well, it's key of G.
Okay. Key of G.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a kind of Pete Johnson thing.
Pete Johnson.
Yeah, that's it.
You like that? Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. 2, 3, 4.
You can talk about the pit, barbecue. The band was jumping. The people too, they're doing the mess around.
Yeah.
They're doing the mess around.
Ray was crazy. Ray was something else. Ray was an independent film, so it didn't have a studio. As a matter of fact, the guy who paid for it, his name was Phil Anschutz. He's a devout Christian. He says, I'll do the movie, but the drugs bothered him. He didn't like the fact that Ray was doing drugs. So if you could put the redemptive quality, I will give you the money. But he gave us half the money first, just to get us started. Phil Anschutz comes to New Orleans to check on his investment. So we recreated the Sanger Theater, 1967. This isn't in the movie. We got a 30-piece orchestra there. And when Phil Anschutz walks in, we're gonna do a song to show him, you know. So he's literally transported back in the 1967. He walks in, they hit me, and we do Let the Good Times Roll. So when he walked in, hey y'all, tell everybody, Ray Charles in town. Got $1.25, and I'm just ready to clown. Don't let nobody play me cheap. I got 50 cents more than I'm planning to keep. Now let the good times roll. Band, shine, shine out, oh baby. And it's like the roof came off. And then I said, I'm not gonna break character, just walk me over to Phil Anschutz. So they walked me over to Phil Anschutz. I said, hey man, somebody told me the money bags was here, man. We needed a couple of more dollars, man. And then he wrote the check.
All right, that's pretty good. Let me take it from here.
Now this band's gonna play from 9 to 1. Everybody here's gonna have some fun doing the mess around.
The director, when he hired me, says, listen, the only thing I gotta do is I gotta find somebody that can play the piano, because other than that, I can't shoot you like this. I said, all right, I play the piano. I went to college on a classical piano. Really? Yeah, I got a scholarship. When I said that, now he wanted me to learn every single note so it looks authentic. And then I met Ray Charles. He comes in, I'm at the studio. Hey man, good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. I said, well, Mr. Charles, I'm just trying to do the best I can to portray you. Look, baby, can you play the blues? If you can play the blues, man, you can do anything. And so there we are on dual pianos, and we start playing the blues with each other. When I hit a wrong note, he said, hey, damn. You know, I guess his ears are sensitive. Now, why would you do that? Why you hit that? I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Charles, I'm just trying to catch up with you. Well, hit the right note, man. You know what? That's what life is, man. Taking the time to hit the right note. I said, oh. So I took the time, hit the right note. Once we finished, he got up and said, hey, kids got it, and he walked out. The other thing, though, was that was the old Ray Charles. So I had to find the young. So I went to Quincy Jones' house. So he goes in his room and comes out with a cassette tape. Maybe you could find something on here. I'm like, well, first of all, I got to find a cassette player. You know, this is the 21st century. So I had to rent a car from the airport. On the cassette was a lady named Dinah Shore. She had a show back at that time, and you hear, hi. This is Dinah Shore with the Dinah Shore Show, here today with two wonderful musicians, and Mr. Kenny Rogers and Mr. Ray Charles. And in the back you hear the young Ray. You know what, Dinah, I'm just so happy to be here. You know, I didn't know you know my music. That's just so grand, you know. And just being here on your show, and I was like, wow, that's a young Ray. Now here's how we build Ray. At one point, Dinah Shore goes, talk about the drugs, Ray, and what you've been dealing with. And Ray started to stutter. Well, you know, I just tried. So I stopped the tape and I said, that's it. That's the character. The young Ray, when he's in control of everything, when he's in control of his music, things like that, he doesn't stutter. But when he's asked to be responsible for his actions, when he cheats on his wife and has a baby, it made him uncomfortable. So we took that as that DNA, and then you see the progression how Ray got to be Ray.
Now let's meet the bachelors you didn't pick. Wanda, bachelor number 1.
Oh, God.
Derek Clinton.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Now say hello to bachelor
Bachelor number 3, Steve Big Buns.
This is funny.
Now let's meet the Bachelor you did pick. Here's Bachelor number 2, Lucky Paul Nelson.
Not the underwear. Not the Dukes. Not the Dukes. You can't do that today. Even today, I mean, come on. So these are initial reaction. They didn't see me because I would say, don't tell them how I look. I actually did part of one the way I got onto the show. I wouldn't let them see what I had on until they were. So when they're walking around that corner, it's authentic. We knew that we were doing something great in comedic cinema. Like, you don't get these types of moments often. And I don't think you actually have seen a pairing like that in generations. And you have great guys out there, Key and Peele and Saturday Night Live, but comedians would give their left arm to have that type of comedic juggernaut of a sketch. Now, wearing the dress came with complications. You get known for that in this. But the history of Wanda and the spirit of Geraldine and all of the great guys who donned these characters to play, whether it's Some Like It Hot or whether it's Eddie Murphy. Sherman, yes. These characters were like artistic statements in comedy. That we want to entertain you. And we just having fun. We're just being funny. Oh, hell yeah. I'm not in the dress in this.
Steve, how you like my new duds? For now, I didn't know that burgundy was my color.
Incredible. It was an all-star game. Christoph Waltz, me and Christoph worked for 12 weeks first before anyone else came on the set. So we was shooting out there, and Christoph's amazing. And then all of a sudden, here comes Leonardo DiCaprio and Samuel Jackson onto the set, walking in slow motion with their vapes. I said, ooh, these motherfuckers is cold. Here was the thing, though. The subject matter, the N-word specifically. Leo had a hard time saying the N-word. We're doing a read, and Leo said, and then he goes, hey, man, hey, guys, cut. I just can't do this. This is not me. Samuel Jackson, say that shit, motherfucker. It's just another Tuesday. Fuck him. And I told Leo, I said, Leo, in slavery days, we would never talk to each other. So I'm not your friend. I'm not Jamie Foxx. I'm Django. So, and as I told him, I said, you won't be able to play that character unless you really understand what slavery was about. It was tough. It was horrific. Ain't no kikiing with the slaves. So the next day, I see Leo. He walks in. I said, Leo, what's up? L, what's up? He don't speak to me. He ready. So everybody started, digging in. Show him, Sam. Show him, Sam. Give him that range.
I count 6 shots.
And Samuel Jackson was better than all of us. He should have got an Oscar. The way he would turn it on and turn it off. Say action. Master Candy, who is this on this nag? Master Candy, I say, who is this on this nag? Say cut. What you think? And I'm like, this motherfucker's an alien. I was waiting on him to do like this. But that's what the level was in this incredible movie.
You uppity son of a...
Quentin Tarantino, he the best. Matter of fact, crazy, people don't know, like, you in the movie when the house blew up, it didn't go like that. And after he blew the house up, which is supposed to be the end of the movie, he goes, it's all wrong. It's all wrong. Everybody go home. I did it in the wrong order. I'm gonna rewrite the whole ending of the movie. We faked the explosion because he had already blew the house up and they had took months to blow it up. But the genius of Quentin Tarantino, he just rewrote it and made it what you saw.
What do you have against law furniture? You ain't got
CD.
It's been a long time since I've done this. Well, maybe he's just distracted because your old boyfriend is trying to kill him.
We went on one date.
Cameron Diaz.
We talked about Manchester United the entire time.
So you admit it. It was a date. Go lap.
Cameron Diaz, back in action. Cameron Diaz is a national treasure. She's done so many incredible movies. And trying to get her to come back, I said, Cameron, listen, we got this movie. We promise that your feet won't touch the ground. You'll just have a good time. And if you just wave at your fans, there's a lot of fans that are needing you. Think about it. She thought about it for a while, and she came back, and then we were like, oh man, I hope we don't shit the bed. I hope the movie is actually good. But what was great about her, when she got on the set, she would see things. Okay, why don't we put this here and put that there and do this, that, and do this and the other. And so she was hands-on, making sure that what you saw was amazing. And then the kids. Now, luckily, I have a 16-year-old. So I said, Cameron, I can tell you how it goes. When they turn 16, they go somewhere else. And you get them hella short answers. You know, you be excited. Aren't you just happy? Good morning. Yeah, hey. I'm your father, I'm Jamie Foxx. I get it. So we were able to put that into the film, and beyond the incredible action and the fighting, I think the quiet moments with Cameron trying to connect with her daughter is like gold. I said, if we're able to do that through this movie, it's great. It's popcorn friendly, fun ride, and at this point in our careers, that's what you want.
Hi, I'm Amanda Seyfried, and I am revisiting scenes from throughout my career. Here goes. What a nightmare scenario. That Voulez-Vous song in this scene is just so traumatic because we spent so long learning this choreography, and I can fake being a good dancer. I didn't in this, I was just bad. But if I have enough time, I can fake being a good dancer. This was just too much. It's like the one ABBA song that I just never want to hear. This scene specifically is just very frantic, and there's a lot of choreography past the dancing where I'm running from one person to the next. And, oh God, it's like a fever dream. This is the movie that changed my life. I went from getting guest stars, doing small movies for the most part, to being the front and center character in a massive, massive movie. I get to work with all these incredible people. Meryl Streep is my mother.
How old are you?
The beginning part was shot in the studio, and the part now that I'm watching where I'm running down the hill was shot in actual Greece. So it was months apart. We shot day for night, which is the worst for someone with light eyes because I'm trying not to squint the whole time.
Are you my father?
Yes. It's one of the purest moments in the movie because there's a lot of pride in Stellan and also a lot of shock and fear, but also just full acceptance in a space of such a small amount of time. And it's a full circle moment. It's beautiful. It's funny too. It's comedically, he's also just very skilled. And I think because of this moment, I always secretly hoped it was Stellan that was really her father. Bill. He was the person who seemed the least likely to want to have kids. And I think from realization to acceptance, there is a scene that was cut of a song called The Name of the Game, and we sing it together. And I'm singing, begging him, what's the name of the game? And I really love that moment with him. We had a lot of fun. We got really tight. We actually did a movie, Stellan and I did a movie right after, where he played my boyfriend. So try that on. Oh no, there's another one. There's another father.
I know why I'm here. Why didn't Donna tell me?
How long have you known? I mean, this is so long ago. I was just a child with so many wrinkles. God, we had so much fun. Also, genius directing. You're having this crazy, insane, torturous, struggle with this girl and with her mother, and then all these men being like, I'm your it's just such a genius move to have it be during this crazy dance to Voulez-Vous. It was a struggle for me. Just too much choreography, in and out, not being able to reach people, getting stepped on. Too many people doing too many different things in one room. It's a lot of stress on the actor. But it's so funny how it turns out. It just looks like it was so fun, but there was just so much happening. Emotionally too, I'm just all these men think that they're my father. Can you imagine? And then these people are dancing around you and it's dizzying, which is God, I feel like I'm experiencing it for the first time. Poor Sophie. What happens to her?
Somebody told him about Shane Oman.
Who?
He said some guy on the baseball team.
Baseball team?
I gave him everything. I was half a virgin when I met him.
You want to do something fun? You want to go to Taco Bell?
I knew I wanted to be an actor, but it was my first movie. The mics and the cameras, I was just experiencing it like I was on Mars. I was so present, and it was such an enlightening and fulfilling experience. I was so clueless. I think the reason I got Karen was I played that person in high school in order to stay out of the drama. It was a much easier transition into playing Karen from where I was at in my life at that point. I was only 17, so high school was like right there.
I can't go to Taco Bell. I'm on an all-carb diet. God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Regina, wait. Talk to me.
Nobody understands me.
This scene, the four of us kind of trying to make Regina feel better. There's a pretty famous line that I say, do you want to do something fun? Do you want to go to Taco Bell? And to be honest, that was actually the fun thing that I probably would have advised for us in my actual high school as Amanda. I don't know how we created our dynamic as the Plastics. We all came from such different places. We were different ages. Lindsay and I were closer in age, and Lacey was just a few years older, and Rachel was a few years older than Lacey. I remember the feeling of everybody really wanting to be there and really appreciating the ingenious of the script. I remember everybody having a lot of fun. There was just a vibe. They cast it right. We were all pretty cool people, pretty happy people. And Mark Waters is an amazing director. He made it so fun.
You're not stupid, Karen. No, I am actually. I'm failing almost everything.
The whispery voice in Karen was based on Some Like It Hot. I had worked with this comedic director on my Karen audition because I'd first auditioned for Regina, and I'd flown out to LA for the first time with my mother. It was very exciting. I met Lacey Chabert for the first time, and Lindsay Lohan was in the room, and Blake Lively was playing Karen, and then I was Regina. I flew home, and they were like, you know what? We think you're more correct for Karen. So I was like, oh God, okay. Sure, all right, how do I really nail it? And so I worked with this comedic director named Dennis, and he talked to me about Marilyn Monroe, and I was like, that's a great idea. And then I guess Mark Waters, he helped me channel that a little better and use that kind of wispy voice. I never thought about that until now.
Well, there must be something you're good at. I can put my whole fist in my mouth. Want to see? No, that's okay. Anything else? I'm kind of psychic. I have a fifth sense.
I think the reason we love Karen so much, and also the reason that she's so funny, is that she is just being brutally honest, and it's so beautiful. And it's what makes her so endearing. And she's not that smart, but she totally knows it. And everything that she reacts to is just her truth, her true reaction. And I think we all love people like that because we can trust them.
What do you mean? It's like I have ESPN or something. My breasts can always tell when it's gonna rain. Really? That's amazing. Well, they can tell when it's raining.
I think this scene in particular leaves a mark because I think we just feel how badly she wants everybody to feel better. Like, it's just that simple. I think we just see she's the person with the biggest heart, and she truly believes that the best idea would be to go to Taco Bell, and that her secret is that she is psychic and has a sports channel. How could you not fall in love with somebody who fully believes that they have ESPN?
Can people really fall in love so fast? What's the matter with you, Cosette? Have you been too much on your own?
It's when I start into the song, because I'm supposed to be English. Questions and answers that somehow seem
in my life. There are times when I catch in the silence the sigh of a faraway song.
I thought singing live was the best idea ever. I knew how tricky it was going to be. I was very scared by it, but I also knew that so much comes out of singing your emotions, and it's such a beautiful expression of where you are in your feelings, and especially with love and this character, Cosette. I knew that I was taking a risk by doing it. After I got it finally, 6 auditions later, I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be vocally because I had quit singing for many years and had only done Mamma Mia. And so that was like a session or 2. And this was gonna be like, I needed stamina, I needed strength, I needed to be able to sing in real time. And I was pretty weak. It's my one regret. I wish I could do it all over again. I wish I could go in a studio and redo my vocals. But of course, that's not the point. It was just so nice to relate to my fellow actors through song. And also, it's my favorite musical. I died for this musical when I was like 12. I remember seeing it in Philadelphia when they were on the road and just being at the edge of my seat the whole time, which is why I auditioned for so many times. Because a lot of people were like, fuck that, I'm not gonna do it. Like, you know I can sing, you know I can act. I'm not gonna do it. But that's not how I take no. And it was great, it was beautiful. God, it was so fun, I love Hugh. Tom Hooper really knew what he was doing.
Does he know I'm alive? Do I know if he's real? Does he see what I see? Does he feel what I feel?
I think Tom Hooper just wanted to find the humanity and keep it as grounded as possible, knowing that to start singing is abstract and sometimes absurd. He was able to marry the two in a way that felt so natural. He created a world that just felt like as real as it could get. And it didn't feel so crazy to start singing. We had months of rehearsal, and he just got to the bottom of everything. It was so gritty. I hate to use that word, but it's just true. It was gritty. It was dark. It was hard. The singing really fit.
Dear Cosette, you're such a lonely child.
This scene with Hugh, it's very intimate. It's really beautiful, and I love working with him. He's amazing. Yet it was so quiet, and it felt like almost too quiet for me to feel comfortable singing and confident. That's one thing that I lacked when I was that age with my voice. Acting-wise, I felt enough confidence, but with singing, I was just, I wasn't breathing well enough. So I just remember him being so warm and him knowing that I was struggling and just feeling like he was there for me. It's a beautiful scene. There's so much reality happening for me. And when you trust your partner like that, it's, even if you're feeling like shit, something real comes through, and I'm able to sing, which is a little better than hitting that high E. Whew, you're really traumatizing me.
Please forgive what I say. You are loving and gentle and good. But Papa, dear Papa, in your eyes I am still like that child who's lost in a wood.
Hugh Jackman is the most present, really kindest human being to walk this earth. Everybody who's met him completely agrees. It's just, there's nobody like him. He's a good friend, but he's very paternal as well. And I think that I just felt like totally seen by him. And when you're scared and the person you're with knows you're scared and accepts that you're scared, you feel less scared. That's his ability. This is compassion. I just remember feeling like it didn't matter how it came out, that he was just right there with me, and he didn't agree with me that I was shit, and that's what a good parent does, you know, a good friend does. Don't do it. Don't ever shoot in water. This pool is actually really warm. Oh my God. Megan. The special effects in this scene, we were all freezing. I mean, look, I have this zombie vomit on me. We're having a fight, and then my boyfriend dies. Like, this was an acting exercise like no other. I don't think I've ever done a scene like this in my life. Karin Kusama, who directed Jennifer's Body, I mean, she's incredible. She was so fun to work with. It was so heartfelt. Megan and I had such a good relationship. This is really emotional for her too. It was like two best friends just telling each other to fuck off. Just beautiful. I love this movie. It holds up. I'm really proud of it. We worked really hard. Had the best time. I just remember being cold a lot during this movie because we were shooting it at night because it's a thriller and a lot of thrillers are shot at night. So every time you see somebody wet in a movie, they're not just wet for a minute or two, they're wet for like 2 days straight. And there's warming tents and hot water bottles, but you have to act through it. This was definitely one of the first action sequences in my career. I think because we shot this towards the end of the movie, I had already done some other special effects action sequences when I'm levitating above Jennifer in the bed, hanging from a harness. I remember realizing that it wasn't for me. I don't want to be in pain in that way. I don't want to make mistakes. I go to full throttle when I'm acting, that I don't trust that it will go halfway when you're supposed to like fight or fly up and like keep your balance. Like you learn a lot from the stunt coordinators. They are just invaluable, but I just don't think that that's where my skills lie. And I don't trust myself to be able to do both acting or action. So I learned that at least. And I think I have done a bunch of action stuff, but not as much as I think my peers. This juice is disgusting. I hate it. Disgusting.
Drink it.
No. Elizabeth really snakes her way around every situation. She's so deliberate and cunning and smart and will shapeshift in order to win. And you see that happening in this scene with Sunny. She loses control and then she gains control and then she loses control and she gains control. And she doesn't want to be out of control ever. It's very uncomfortable. For most of us it is, of course. But she finds herself in a situation where she actually doesn't know what's going on and briefly breaks down because she's like incapable for a second of knowing what to do. And then what she does what she does best. She puts on a face and she commands herself to forge ahead.
There it is. We are developing new technology. This is an inspiring step forward.
What's going through my mind when I'm doing the voice for the first time as Elizabeth in the mirror is that Amanda's thinking, make it hurt, go as low as, like, until it hurts. And Elizabeth, I know, is thinking, find the power, find the depth. They'll only take you seriously if you go all the way, in every way. And this is like, be a man, be the fucking man. But I'm just like, scare yourself. Like, look at yourself and scare yourself. And I think I should let you know that this was additional photography on the last day of shooting. And I said to Michael Showalter, our director of episodes 1 through 4, I said, I don't think we need this. He's like, we do, we need it. Liz really wants it. And I was like, we should call her. I don't think we need this. I just don't think we have time. And then it's like iconic now in terms of the show and how it was marketed. And I'm an idiot. I was wrong. And it was so fun to do. I think I just knew I was done. But I remember thinking like, yeah, scare yourself.
Inspiring step forward. 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 This is an inspiring step forward.
The only research I didn't do was meet her. I had many, 10 hours of deposition tapes in terms of the voice and the mannerisms and the way she speaks and how she uses her mouth and her hands and even to the way she listened. I got to study, so it was like muscle memory for me. It was so delicious because I've only played 3 real people, and the first 2 times I didn't have any footage like that. This was like, I was rich with information of this person being themselves. If that hadn't existed, I still would have gotten where I needed to be, I think, but it would have taken a lot longer. And then, of course, there's so many interviews where she's just really playing for the audience. Of course, there's glimpses of her. She's still playing, there's glimpses. She's just such an actor, and God, what a dream role. And I didn't want to put it down. I didn't want to stop playing her. I begged and begged and begged our creator, Liz Merriweather, to write another season because, well, she goes to trial, she gets pregnant, she has a baby, she gets sentenced. Like, even before she got sentenced, like, even before her trial was over, her life continues. My job is to sympathize with her. My job as an actor is to connect and relate to as much as possible and have compassion for my character, or I'm not going to be able to do it. When I was finished with the show, I struggled finding any compassion anymore because I'd used it all up, which I didn't expect. This is just an extraordinary, like, circumstances for me because this is a real person who made the wrong choices. And so I kind of shut out all the deliberateness, and I shut out kind of the people who were harmed, and kind of try to stick with where she was and how she might be struggling and where she came from. But it was really hard to not like be so angry with her by the time I stopped shooting, and I was not expecting that. She fucked up so hard, and I had given her so much credit because it was my job, but also because I'm a human being and she's a mother. Anyway.
Hi, I'm Steven Yeun, and I'm here to revisit scenes from my career. Let's get started. I deeply have fond memories of this particular moment because it was kind of like a personal growth moment for me, that you have more agency than you think you do. Glenn does this huge fight with this walker, and he's avoiding him and fighting him, and then he finally kills him. That was improvised. And it was the first time I was like, here's like a feeling I have in this moment, and I want to just do it. David Galbraith, our focus puller, who recently passed away, he was like, woo! And like the whole thing of this whole show was just like getting his approval. This role really helped set a really wonderful tone for me. I got to work with incredible actors, incredible directors, incredible writers and talent and crew. I learned how to be a professional. I learned how to be an artist. I learned how to be a good human, and I learned how to be a great collaborator. I'm very, very thankful for like this experience. It was kind of this like fundamental, foundation for a lot of the choices that I made afterwards. Take control, man.
I am in control.
Yeah? That's Young Mazzino. You're about to know this guy. He's a good one. Young is such an incredible actor. What's your plan then?
I'm gonna go play ball.
No, like in your life, like right now, in your one precious life, what is your plan? This is the Cho Bros, the Cho brothers. You're gonna look at Danny Cho and Paul Cho, who are the children of immigrants, and they're kind of trying to just make it and figure it out. Life is precious, man. You can't like waste it, you gotta take action. If you're hungry, eat a steak. If you wanna feel the sun on your face, like, look, it's right there, See something you like, baby bro, go get it. Beef has been so fun, so wonderful. I just remember talking with Sonny about it when he pitched me the idea of like, hey, I'm thinking about this show about road rage. And I was like, road rage, I'm into that. And then like Allie came on board and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then it just kept making sense. It's fucking hilarious and sad and happy and angry and all the feelings.
All right, what are you and boys gonna do? Like, what's your boys' plan?
It's easy. 3 10X trades. 1K to 10K, 10K to 100, 100 to a million. Boom.
You're just saying higher numbers. It's about seeing the humanity in yourself. We never approached this in a way where we were conscious so much so of like what it was saying about Asian American storytelling, and we were more just like, let's make sure that like we're being authentic and as honest as we can in every part of this expression, down to our wonderful production designer, Grace Yeun, Helen Huang making our costumes, to Sonny's writing, to every character and actor being a part of this, like top to bottom, like really holding our authenticity and culture for ourselves so that we can then just explore these people and the humanity of these people. Hopefully everyone can see Danny in themselves. We're all weird and gross and funny and sad and hilarious, and we're all the things.
All right, folks, let's meet back here at 3 p.m., okay? It's not that serious.
Okay. All right, cool.
It's like serious, but it's not that.
All right, sure, but I'm ready though.
Boots Riley, a genius, the man. I just left doing Walking Dead for 7 seasons, in which the style of that show was just like busting through every day, just like rolling around in the dirt, screaming, crying, going nuts. And then I got to play this role next, which was more a vibe. I like Squeeze because he got to just kind of be, and he was kind of sitting in the pocket of a knowing that maybe not every other character knew. There's something he's hiding for himself, that he's this union organizer.
We're gonna give them our day. We need to have enough to cover our basic necessities. Human decency.
Yeah!
Is anyone not down? Speak now.
Nah, fuck that, Squeeze. We're ready.
This was the first time where me personally as an actor, I was like, oh, I'm allowed to just stand there and feel the reality of the moment, and that's enough.
정엄마, 왜 그래? 어?
당신 정말 몰라서 물어?
Hanyeri is incredible. She carried Monica, the character of Monica, deep in her body, coming all the way from Korea to like play this part. Truly, we're blessed that we got to have her in this film.
근데 지영 아빠, 지금은 괜찮지만 앞으로 내가 그렇게 살 자신이 없어.
This script kind of found me in a crazy way. I read it and I was just like, whoa, this is so everything and so simple and beautiful and truthful and honest. And it was so sparse, like the words weren't like overly dense and you could like see all the rhythm to it in there. It was so nice. 2 days before we started, I was in my hotel room in Tulsa, bugging out. How am I gonna do this? All I could see was like a version of this character where he was just like this concept that was really far away from me of like my parents and their generation and who they are to me. And so they were always kind of rendered as this like idea.
아직 안 가셨네요. 예, 가야죠. 예, 다음 주에 뵙겠습니다.
I kind of came to, I called my mom and I was just like complaining about it. And I came to this understanding by the end, oh, I am my father. I can experience this life. And it was when I was able to like break the image of my own parents to myself that I can just see them in love as full human beings. And that was when I really understood the character, my parents. It was wild.
You haven't seen the Bad Gordy sketch on SNL? I mean, I pretty much nailed it better than I could. No? Saturday Night Live?
Jordan is the man. For him to write such a simple moment, but have like so many layers that he wanted to explore underneath it was pretty incredible. We really, really worked on Jupe quite extensively. He doesn't show up too much in the film, but we really went there in our conversations. We had many, many, many conversations about who this person is and how he's made and what moves him.
It's Catan. He's just crushing it. He is a force of nature. He is killing on that stage.
Yeah. It's legendary.
This particular scene is someone maybe displacing their memory of a trauma that they don't really know how to cope with or deal with. And so he only knows how to encase it and entomb it in this story that he remembers that someone else said about him. I think Jordan is such an incredible, brave filmmaker. The ways in which things are scary on the outside have been seen, but like the internal horror is really freaky that he's exploring. The production designer, she was incredible. I remember walking into Jupe's office and into that Gordy's panic room and seeing the level of detail, what he's written on the walls. The details were outrageous, and I remember being in there being like, oh, this is his prison. Like, he constructed his own prison. The masterful direction of Jordan Peele was something that really helped me get into this character. Jupe was a sad guy to play. He's unwell.
뭐라고요? 가끔 비닐하우스를 태운다고요.
This project was also so amazing for me. I got to work with two incredible actors, Yeun and Chun Jong-seo, also two incredible human beings. I got to meet with director Lee. He gave me a big hug, and he was like, I'd love for you to play Ben. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna say no. I was like, so you're gonna have him be like, you know, like an Asian American, right? Like where he like speaks mostly English. And he's like, yeah. And then I went home and then he was like, you're gonna speak all Korean and you're gonna be native Korean. And I was like, oh shit.
그것들이 태워지길 기다리고 있다는 거라.
Then I don't know how what I'm thinking. Like I was like, oh, you're gonna have to speak Korean. You're gonna have to speak Korean really well. You're gonna have to play this part that you've never played before. You're gonna work with this director that you've never worked with before. That was really exciting. I was really blessed by this role. It helped me explore a lot of things about myself that I had put away since I'd immigrated to America when I was 4. And so it was really transformative for me. I'm very thankful for this role. Surprisingly not as cringy as I thought it'd be. I am so grateful that I got to be a part of these things and work with these people. A very lucky life, so very thankful for this.
Hello everyone, I'm Millie Bobby Brown and I'm going to be taking a look back on some of my scenes during my career thus far. So let's do it.
She broke my arm! My arm!
Go. Go. Oh, this is I don't even remember it. I never really watched season 1. I didn't really have time. The second it came out, you know, we just went on press tours and interviews, and now we're able to kind of relish in it more and really enjoy the show. It's so cloudy, the memories. You don't really remember like the specifics of everything. I did not think this would be big at all. And I actually still didn't. Like after we performed at the Emmys and went on Ellen, I was just like, it's gonna go up and it's gonna go down. I didn't know. And then I was just like, oh, I've gone up and I'm like staying consistent and I'm able to continue doing really great things. But like I'm 10, so immediately I'm like, I just want a puppy and my hair to grow back. You know, that's really all that I was thinking.
Let's go! Go! Yeah, that's right! You better run! She's our friend and she's crazy!
I love that line. That is my favorite line. Also, I think my friends actually say this about me. They're like, she's our friend and she's crazy. Gaten's performance in this makes me so happy. Oh, the energy he brought, it was just like magnetic in the screen. Oh, the void, the most depressing place ever. I'm always alone. I'm always having to be emotional and scared. I'm in water, my feet are pruny, I'm hungry. It's my least favorite set ever. Mike, I'm sorry.
Sorry? What are you sorry for?
The gate. Girl, she needs braces. You see those teeth?
I opened it.
I think this is probably the most I spoke in the whole of season 1. I remember being like, I have lines today. Like, this is so fun. And I remember how cold it was. And I remember actually laying on that gravel. I remember I was studying
Mesopotamia and the Fertile Crescent. And all the boys were a few grades older than me, but they were like, we know about Mesopotamia. And I was like, okay, I hate myself. But yeah, I remember having to go back into school and doing like 4 hours of school in between these like really emotional scenes. So we had 2 jobs. This is such an iconic scene because you start to go, oh, Mike and Eleven, like they might be falling in love, and there's Dustin. You know, it's just like very, very cute, the friendship that they have. And I think this is the beginning of the wonderful friendship between the boys and Eleven. This was exceptionally cold water. And he didn't really touch me, like he had his hand on my back, but I did all the control. Camera was below, which was really exciting, and I watched playback every single time to see what else I could do. I really wanted to feel like the audience was underwater and like trying to catch their breath too. It was the first ever water scene I've ever done like that. It was really cool, and it was winter in London, so it was very, very cold.
I will ask you this only once. Where is the Marquis?
Now, who would that be?
Fun fact, I didn't know my lines. This is something I'm like. I never come into set knowing my lines. I learn them on the day so that I'm instinctual and that whatever comes out, comes out. So for this scene, I purposefully didn't know my lines so that whatever came out was really stuttery, you know, and cluttered and scared. And that's what I liked about this scene, is that she truly was searching for every single word that came out because she was begging for him to stop.
Well, you've seen my face now.
No, your face is totally unmemorable!
I love that line. That made me so, but it's also so hard to get it all out before he's about to dunk you in water again. And I probably inhaled half the water by this point. So this part of the scene, it took me 2 months to learn before production. It was really difficult. I practiced so much and learned all of the skills so that on the day when I got there, I was able to just do a dance routine. Helena. She is so hilarious. You cannot intentionally go in with anger or aggression with her because she is so funny. I was using real force with her, and one take I just pushed her over. She just fell right on her butt, and it was hilarious. And we were both just cracking up. She is one of the most talented, down-to-earth, and funny actors I've ever worked with. And just like her energy, it lights the whole room up. I love this part. This part's my favorite. This actually wasn't even scripted. The director just basically told me to provoke him, you know, poke at him, make him fight you more. And I was like, how do I do that? And so this is what I do. I actually love that her reactions are like, whoa, that worked. You know, it's never like confidence, it's more like, oh my, I'm smart. Like, that worked. That actually landed, and he's hot, yay! I love that about Enola, like you're learning with her as she goes along.
The ceremony is now complete. You may make your return.
This is a scene right before she gets thrown into the cave. They are doing their strange family ritual that she doesn't really know why they're doing. But she is very scared. But she's also maybe falling in love, and she's starting to trust him.
I'm supposed to carry you back.
I'm fine with walking, really.
Poor Nick had to hold me and 9 layers of dress, but for 12 hours within the day, so it's crazy. Yeah, he did very well. Seriously, I was wearing everything that you see me dress up in the film, I'm actually wearing. So there was a lot to hold.
Floria would love this part.
Close your eyes. I've got you.
Working with Robin was unbelievable. To be able to work with such a seasoned actor. It was a dream come true, and she brought so much to every scene, despite maybe it not being her close-up and being behind camera. Like, she continuously was there for me. She brought a certain energy that she made me bring more every single day. The best kind of actor to work with. I feel very gravitated towards strong female leads, but just being able to executive produce this, it meant the world, because I was able to be behind the camera, have a say in where the plot, story, casting goes. It was really nice, and I was able to kind of live also my female producer lead role.
I'm sorry.
I was never thrown. He would go to throw me, I would pull my face, and then we would cut. And then basically they put me on a plank of wood, and I just fell backwards up and down on a plank of wood while they put me up and down. But actually that day I was on the plank of wood, I had the flu. So I basically just couldn't breathe, and I was just like, and I had to mime because I had lost my voice. So I had to mime my scream, and then in ADR, just scream away. Dr. Owen, yes, the Rebecca. What even is that look? I also think it was the first time I ever worked with a fan. The fan's blowing in my face, and I was like, I can't see it. Okay, carry on.
Ruby? Hey.
I actually spent the whole episode on the phone. He basically teaches me how to go through where I have to put a straw in her throat, the whole thing. It's so exciting. I obviously didn't really do it. I was just doing ADR the whole time, and then this is the scene where they actually get to see each other.
My phone died, but I kept singing till they came just like you said.
She was about to take off with those Dumbo ears. Yep, that was a moment in time.
You did great. You were perfect. Okay.
I have no words. That's better than Stranger Things. That's better than all the things. That right there is what you call a performance. It's like going to an acting school. Unfortunately, mine was just televised for the whole world to see, but that was like my practice. I remember watching it back with my whole family when it went on TV, and we were all freaking out, and my dad was like, "You are amazing," and my mom was like, "This is amazing," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm so good." Ghidorah. My hair is insane in this, but I love this so much. What was so cool is that the set wasn't actually moving, it's the cameras moving, and right in front of me is a whole green screen, so I just have to pretend that Ghidorah is coming. All of it's real fire, you know, all of it around me, the debris, everything is around me. I had an amazing first lady that had a voice of God that would just be like, "And Ghidorah's coming, and he's gonna kill you, and I would just basically he would just narrate what I did, which was amazing. She cannot help herself but scream. Like, are we okay? This was also instinctual, not scripted. Director kept it. It's really nice to see that when that comes to fruition. My 17th birthday, the day I filmed this. So it was very positive, lovely, really light day emotionally. He's killed everyone and he's prepared to kill me, but I actually throw him into the rift. So actually 11 created the upside. I still need to get this all clarified.
Why do you cry for them, 11? After everything they did to you.
This was a young girl who played me. She looked actually very much like me. She also shaved her hair off. I directed her. which was very exciting, my directorial debut. And it was really exciting because I just wanted to have more of a say in how she would move because I remember that and I remember exactly how that was. And then basically sat in an egg for 3 days and we went through every single scene and I moved my face the way that I'd want her face to look. When she would scream, I would scream just so she could feel the intensity of the scene and that, you know, she could feel like she was acting against, right? Because she's also having to look at a green tennis ball. I always used to clench my fists when I was using my powers. So like showing her things like that, showing her how to use her face, her body stance, her strength. I needed to feel like she was straining because her power is so, you know, it's bigger than her. And she's like this little dinky, beautiful little girl. And so I was just like, we need to channel our inner dragon.
Plan C! Follow it home! Hurry up!
Hey! That's my bike!
So I went to an audition for Modern Family with like 40 other girls in the room and their mums, and nobody brought their dad, but my dad took me everywhere. So my dad was the only one sat in the room, like trying to keep his head down, and I was like, I'm not gonna get it, and I got it, and I walked out, my dad was like, really? I was like, yeah, I think so.
Whoa! Okay, I need to borrow this, okay? Here, this. All right. Okay? I promise to bring it back, all right?
No, that's what you said about my mom's humidifier.
Oh, we love that. We stand that, Millie. That's very cute. I was also like, humidifier. That's such a hard word to say in an American accent. But I was very good at my American accent back then. I was just like fluid because I lived here for so long. But that was very fun. And we were filming in Beverly Hills, so I felt very bougie. My whole childhood was captured and I'm able to look back on it, and like one day maybe my kids are gonna be able to look at that, and also being able to have young girls be able to look at that and be like, okay, this is where she started, this is where she is, and like this is the journey in between. And I think that is really nice. Obviously there's a downfall because people still see you, especially as a child actor, so people are like, wait, you're not 8 years old anymore and you don't have a shaved head? And it's like, well, no, I'm 20. Like I have a life, and you know, I want to grow as a person but also as an actor, and so I'm proud of myself, you know, for being confident and for putting myself out there, and despite what anybody thinks of my performance, like I had fun and that's all that matters. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Zac Efron and I'm going to rewatch some scenes from throughout my career. All right, here we go.
What are you wearing? What are you doing?
Yeah. We're throwing a Robert De Niro party. Oh. Should be pretty fucking loud. It's probably gonna go pretty fucking late, too. I'm a taxi driver, De Niro.
Yeah, meet the fuck is De Niro. I'm watching you. I'm watching you.
That's dead on.
Mole on your face. Did you do that yourself?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did, Falco. Oh my God, that's so funny. Wow. I remember this day oddly, like very vividly. Like, there was so much going on. Seth is so good at improv. He's like, Seth is to this day is one of my favorite actors of all time. In this scene in particular, I remember really not having a De Niro impression, like a very good one at all, and just kind of knowing I was going to be winging it and hopefully betting on the fact that the worse it was, the funnier it would be. And it worked out. I was blown away though when all of a sudden out of nowhere, Dave Franco had completely nailed his De Niro impression. Like, he just crushes that.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yes. Are you talking to me?
He literally looks like him. He looks like De Niro. So I'm here like up front sucking at doing Taxi De Niro, and then he comes out and it's like says, yeah, you, fucking, I'm talking to you. I was like, did you practice this? It was so funny. I was like, what the fuck? Dave's killing this.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Sam Jackson, you know, from Jackie Brown.
What the fuck?
That's not even, yeah.
Scent of a woman?
There's no consistency here.
It's Seth and Rose doing what they do so well, which was just naturally reacting to this ridiculousness outside the window. The hooah, hooah, like that's not even De Niro, that's Pacino. And I don't remember who did it first, but someone did it and we all just started copying it. And Seth's reaction to it was very genuine. It was like, that's not even, your guys, it's not even an impression. And we just kept doing it to make him upset because it was making him mad and it stayed in. That's one of the most fun movies I've ever filmed. So grateful for that and that experience. Man, I feel like I'm back there. I haven't watched this. This is crazy. I never watched this stuff. This is insane. It's cool. I know they're making it look like I do this, but I don't do this. I really don't.
Coach said to fake right and break left. Watch out for the pick and keep an eye on the fence. Gotta run the give and go, take the ball to the hole, and don't be afraid to shoot the outside, Jay.
First thing that comes to mind is I really drilled all those shots. There's no CGI in there. I don't think we had the budget for that. So that makes me feel good. That just takes me back to where all of us were at, all the young men on that team. We were so young and so incredibly motivated. Not many people know this, but High School Musical was just a made-for-TV movie, and it was very small. So we had a very condensed shooting schedule and very limited rehearsal time. Our choreographer, Chucky, is actually in that shot, and Kenny Ortega had pretty big ambitions for this movie, but I think he was pleasantly surprised when all the boys were like excited to not only fulfill what he wanted, but to take it one step further. This whole sequence with the basketballs and the dribbling in that movie, we started practicing with basketballs, and I think we might have practiced it for 2 days prior to doing all that in sync. We probably had maybe 2-3 hour rehearsals with basketballs. After like 5 takes, we nailed it. Like we got it all in one. Like they didn't cut from start to finish. And all of us were blown away, and I think that was the first time all of us went, is this gonna be cool? This felt really cool. It was a really special moment, and I'm still just proud of all those guys for doing that, because it was hard. It was hard. But you can't predict where a basketball's going. A lot of people got hit in the face. It was hilarious, man. It's so funny. I look so light in my feet in that. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Oh, I love you, Kenny. I miss you guys. Man, that's bringing it all back. I haven't watched that in years. That's crazy.
Bye, Chris.
Bye. See ya.
Oh my God, you're not Jack and Rose. Just get out of the car. Get out of the car. What do you want?
I didn't come here looking to have sex with your mom, all right? I came to your house looking for you so I could offer you this job.
Oh, God.
Joey's so good in that scene. She's so great in that. You know, I had seen her earlier work from when she was a little bit younger, and I noticed back then that, like, she was just acting beyond, anybody else I'd seen at her age. We had so much fun working together as we kind of got back to that place where we were in that De Niro scene. Like that was the kind of the shape of the scene that we had planned, but a lot of that stuff we added our own flavor to, which was really fun.
Celebrity? She didn't sleep with a celebrity. That's derogatory, okay? I'm a movie star. She slept with a movie star.
Oh yeah, I don't remember saying that way. I wanted there to be a clear delineation between Chris Cole and myself. As much as I can relate in ways to things that Chris might be going through, I think the way that he handles it is very different from myself. I got to play the worst version of somebody experiencing fame and sort of the fear and the imposter syndrome that comes with that. On the one hand, I'm still starstruck every time I see her. So I don't think that's ever gonna change. It's weird, even to this day. I really just am, in a sense, just always going to be in permanent awe of her. I don't know. I've got a deep trust and respect for her that I think just makes it fun. I look forward to scenes with her, and there's very little stress. I just got to get past that initial, you're Nicole Kidman, and we're doing a scene together. Okay, cool. Let's go. I saw that one back fairly recently. My friend invited me over for dinner, and he's got quite a few kids, and it was just on. I realized I had entered a trap. So I sat there, and 20 minutes later, we were all up singing and dancing and doing acrobatics on the couch. It was really fun. I mean, musicals are very, very near and dear to my heart. I think they always will be. Michael Gracie I think Michael Gracie and Hugh, they're incredibly special people. I think that Michael is such a visionary. I can admit that at the time that he came to me and sort of pitched this film to me, a musical was probably not the first thing I was looking for at the time. Then he sort of played me the music and talked me through his vision, and it was one of the most ambitious but also well thought out explanations of a story that I've ever experienced. It's kind of similar to working with Sean Durkin on the Iron Claw. It was very clear that Michael Gracie had this in his dreams, and he was going to bring to life a very vivid dream that meant something very special to him and was not one to compromise. So if you're going to make a musical, you better make it damn good. And I felt like this was a chance to make it good. The choreography for this scene was actually pretty extensive. All of those shot classes, we really did that. And the guy in the middle, his name's Cloud, he was extraordinarily talented. And we practiced for weeks and weeks to get that right. To not mess that up was we had to catch them all in the right timing, drink them on the right timing, send them back, catch new ones, do dancing in the middle, and not mess up the words. And it was really hard. It looks effortless, and I'm happy that it looks that way, but that's how Cary Grant is. Like, it seems effortless, but there's a lot of rehearsal that goes into that. I love seeing that back. That's wild. It's crazy. The way that he revealed Zendaya's character, that was such a cool thing. And bless her heart, she really did that every time. She like flew from across the room on a trapeze and then like went into her close-up, like a lot. It was very impressive. I mean, Zen's the best. She's great. She's down for anything. She's super brave. I've got so much respect for Zen. I hope we get to do something again in the future. She's the best. I'll never forget it. It's really nice to watch this stuff with you guys. It's weird, I'm like getting emotional over this. It's crazy.
You okay, Dad?
Lee, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, boys. You shouldn't see me like this. Man doesn't cry.
Sean Durkin, the director of this movie, had a very carefully drawn out plan for the execution of this film, and of course on purpose put this scene probably very much last up in the film, and I think it was for good reason. Kevin Von Erich was never meant to be seen crying, because the family was not allowed to show weakness. And I thought that was a really fantastic note from Sean and a brilliant kind of thing to guide me through the movie. And there were a lot of scenes, I think, earlier in the film that warranted tears. I wanted to cry a lot during this movie, and he was just saying, no, hold it back for the right moment. But then this day came along. It was the last day of filming, and I couldn't hold back tears. And all I'm thinking here is, don't cry, dude. You're gonna have to do it again. Like, Sean's not gonna go for this. And when they said, we'll be your brothers, I just lost it.
We'll be your brothers, Dad. Yeah, Dad. We'll be your brothers.
I thought I'd ruin the take at that point, but I decided to stay in it. And when we finished, the boys kind of ran away and we continued the take. And I looked up at Sean. I was about to apologize. He's like, no, that was it. I was like, really? So this was the first time, I think, that he wanted Kevin to experience this emotion. So I was happy that Sean was happy. It's a cool scene. Well, thank you so much, Vanity Fair. Thank you for watching.
Hey guys, I'm Selena Gomez, and today we are going to be looking at a few scenes throughout my career.
Alex was about to cross the finish line, and then she came back.
This was the last part we were shooting for the entire Wizards era, and it was really hard. But I loved it. It was really fun. We did over 100 episodes of the show and then 3 movies for the show. I think my favorite part of this time was that I genuinely had no idea what was coming. Simply fun, and I could be young and I had a beautiful experience on Disney. David, Henry, and I are very close, so it was very sweet to be able to have a big brother since I didn't have siblings. Yeah, and then I look like I'm 5. That's crazy. The outfit and the hair, love you guys, but whoa, no.
Alex Russo is officially the Russo family wizard.
The Russo family wizard.
We were this close to becoming a normal family.
I really appreciated our writers. There were writers on the show that were from Friends. We had Dom DeLuise's son, and he was just inherently had this humor about him, and it was so captivating, and he would, improv and throw me off. And eventually we all started evolving. I mean, when I watched the first season, I cringed, and then later I actually find myself laughing at those moments because the real moments are, to me, what made Wizards.
Are you serious?
That's it?
We're
Bye, girls.
halfway to spring break, y'all. Fuck. That won't even get us one night's hotel room down there. I have another 20 in my purse. Faith, do you know how expensive that place is?
This was probably, to date, still one of my favorite projects I was ever a part of. Believe it or not, it was my mom's idea. We watched Harmony's movies together, and I was so eager after Disney to have a release. Nothing as drastic as I thought it would be, but I think my character is very reflective of who I was back then, which was stepping out of this era of always needing to make sure that I, hold my head up high, do things kids can watch, and just felt like a huge release.
Everybody's miserable here because everybody sees the same things. They wake up in the same bed, the same houses, same depressing streetlights.
The line or the monologue was all improv. Harmony said to me, describe where you grew up and describe why you wanted to get out of there.
Everything's the same and everyone's just sad. I don't want to end up like them. I really want to get out of here. This is more than just spring break. It's our chance to see something different.
Yeah, it's about accurate. Now, technically, I never wanted to leave Texas, but when I go back there, I do get a shock of what my life could have been. And it doesn't mean it was bad, it just would have been very different. I go home and visit the people that live in the house that I grew up in still, so I know them. I got my baby crib back. But it was a different experience for my mom being pregnant at 16. She wanted to show me the world, and I think I was kind of speaking through her a little bit.
We're the only ones still here. We fucking suck.
We're leaving, you guys. We're not gonna be stuck here.
All of the girls in the movie were older than me, so I felt very protected. Because it was such a drastic change from what I was used to, there were obviously a couple of uncomfortable moments for me. In particular, you wanted 2 guys dancing on me when I was in my bikini, and I said I didn't feel comfortable with that. And the girls decided to be the ones that were beside me, and then the boys were beside them. So little things like that helped me. I'm not afraid of dancing with a guy now, but back then I just was a little nervous. And he was a great director. I would do anything to work with him again, and we still are in contact. He's really good. He'll pull it out of you.
Hey, come over. Yeah. Sit down. Half the building's in here. I'm Oliver, by the way, Oliver Putnam.
Charles Hayden Savage.
Hey, I'm Mabel.
No, really, what is... Oh.
I don't know why every time I see them, I want to cry. That was the first day I ever met them. And we did this scene, which was perfect because we were meeting each other. They could not have made me feel more comfortable. As much as I joke that I'm younger than them and don't know any of their work, I understood their status, meaning just what they've created in their lives. So I understood that, and I was very nervous, and I just wanted to be on my best behavior, be on time, be professional, and they immediately pulled me out of it and, just included me from day one. And they'll tell me even to this day, they're like, we had no idea. We were so nervous you were gonna be a nightmare or like late all the time. And I'm just so proud that I can call these people allies and friends.
We got our places 30 years ago when the Arconia was affordable, but would your parents have a place there or something?
Good God, you don't have to answer that, Mabel. I mean, unless you want to, because I'm also curious.
I think Steve and Marty both have similar work ethics as far as technicality, which is being on time, being professional, but being kind, and also understanding when you need space, how to handle a situation, if you're uncomfortable, how you handle a situation. These are people who respect the craft, and I really, really admire that. And even when we had Meryl on the show, just seeing someone where she's at in life, she would stay and just be off camera for 12 hours for the other actors. She would sing and ask the cameraman how he was doing and how many kids he had. And that to me shows an elegance, a class, something that maybe is missing a little bit when you go on sets. I think I'm very lucky because I can carry those lessons on with me. I'm strong enough to say, actually, no, this isn't what I want, and this is how it should be because I believe in my character this much. I think I'll always carry that forever with me, so I'm grateful. Sometimes it's a bit too intense. I mean, I'll be wearing, I wear, very cool clothing, but nothing provocative in any way. And Steve will just say, you look lovely today. And then he'll go, can I say that to you? I was like, yes, it's okay. Thank you. I'm literally wearing a sweater. It's fine.
Does it hurt?
No, kind of.
Does it affect your brains?
No.
Does your penis work?
You want a menu? Can we grab a menu? What would you like? You want a sandwich? You want some eggs, maybe? The waffles are really good, right, Beth?
I remember meeting Paul for the first time, and then since then we've done, I think, 4 or 5 projects together now. I had the biggest crush on him. I still do, but he's just really great with working with people, especially with both of us at the time. We didn't know, at least I didn't know what I was doing. I think finding this character and stepping into something a bit different, this was like me putting my toes in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, the waffles are good, or yeah, your penis works?
The waffles suck.
I'm Dot.
I was at the time inspired when Jennifer Lawrence did Winter's Bone. I just loved how she put so much care into her character choices. And they were all different, but had a bit of an edge, and yet softness to it. So I felt like there was something in this movie that was good and real, and yeah, she still is an inspiration to me.
Whoa, this place is a trip.
Sure is.
Oh, Caleb! Hi. I adore that boy. He is so great and very talented, as are all of them in the scene.
Nice shirt. Nosferatu.
I'm so happy.
It's really cool.
Thanks. I make them. How about that? Earth off its axis. End of the world.
This was a little gift, I'll say that, because all the roles that we've talked about, I have auditioned for multiple times or fought for. I will thank Jim Jarmusch and his daughter. She was a huge fan of mine. He decided to meet with me, so we talked for about 2 hours about projects and other things in life. We were speaking about zombies, and I told him I used to have bad dreams about zombies. So I would always run to hide somewhere, or I'd go underneath something, and that's all I could really remember, but it would be reoccurring. In my dreams, I thought that it represented the world because I felt like I was always running from something. This was really fun because, we were running from something.
Medio rica, medio pobre, medio jefe, medio reina, medio aquí, medio allá, medio muerto, medio viva.
I don't even know where to begin with Emilia Perez. Carla alone is unbelievably outstanding. She has this power that it was intimidating. You know, I felt the pressure. You know, Zac has a very interesting way of directing, but he also loves to see what happens when he gives one direction to Carla and gives it another direction to me. So there's a bit of fear, but also I remember just giving her the biggest hug after that, and it was kind of a big release. But I loved that. I mean, the whole point of me wanting to do that project was for those feelings to come. I read the script. It was wild. It was such a wild ride. And then you think to yourself, how are they going to create this? But then you have someone like Zac where you're like, there's going to be magic to this. I know there is. And I went into the audition. I was so nervous. I tried to talk to him casually first to like have that be a warm up. And then I wasn't really making sense. I was like, I'm just gonna audition. And there's a scene in the movie and a number that I perform. He didn't give me any sort of direction. He just said, act drunk, sing the song like you're angry, throw your shoes if you want, do whatever you feel. I just lost myself. I don't remember looking at anyone. There's just a video camera pointing and I lost it and I tried to have fun and bring back the old tour Selena and just tried to do whatever I could. And at the end, he got so excited. He was like, yes, yes, yes. And even if I didn't get the part, I remember walking out going, I at least made some sort of effect. And that made me proud as an actor. And yeah, and also I feel like I earned the role. Zac had no idea who I was. And that makes me happy because it feels like I deserve to be here. I trust people that really kind of just want to speak to me as the individual and not anything else. So it's very refreshing. I appreciate when people don't let the noise bother them. I'm not looking to be the star of anything. I'm looking to be challenged and moved and choosing roles that make me think, that make people talk. But I do feel like it's just the beginning, hopefully.
Hey, what's up? It's Marlon Wayans. Apparently we're gonna be watching some scenes from my long-ass career. Lego.
Man, this shit is awesome.
Yo, son, you gotta roll some more of that shit outside.
Shorty wasn't written because I was filming Dungeons and Dragons and Requiem. So they left my character kind of out while they was putting together the movie. And so Keenan was like, every time I come to set, okay, so what's Shorty gonna do today? And I'd be like, wait, what do you mean? You wasn't here, we didn't write your character like that. So you tell me what he's gonna do. Go into my trailer and I come back with pages. Shorty's downstairs getting high with all his friends and the killer walks in and you think he's gonna kill him, but instead, he gets high with them.
Oh, shit, son.
And then from there, it was like, I started thinking what else would be fun with the killer, and it'd be like, yo, if we freestyle, we know everybody always talking freestyles and they're always violent, but what if you freestyled it with somebody that's like really violent, like a fucking slasher?
If the phone rings, don't answer that call. It's gonna slit your throat, fuck you like a goat, peel your foreskin off and make a winter coat. Peace.
Yo, that was the illest rhyme I ever seen, son.
And Shorty was based on a real person. That was a dude I knew who was my barber, and he smoked a lot of weed, and I was just like, son, I'm gonna do you in a movie. Me and my family have a long history of knowing some really funny people that we grew up with, or really funny people that we was around, and we was like, that's a character.
Shit, man. That motherfucker started looking a little seedy, Jim.
What, are you particular all of a sudden?
Hey, baby. I don't care if the motherfucker growing hair, just as long as we get our bread.
Just give me a hand. All right.
Jared Leto, that's a pretty motherfucker, ain't he? I used to piss him off every day when we did Requiem because he was so into his character. You know, he stopped eating and shit and get all emaciated. And I was like, I ain't gonna do all that skinny shit. Let me get a burger. So he's eating like little pumpkin seeds, and I'm sitting there going, you hungry?
Hello.
That was a very hard movie to do, Requiem, because it was my first like real dramatic role. But Darren Aronofsky had me come to New York City in February. First of all, I auditioned 6 times for the role. Finally, I got the role. So he makes me come to New York in a meeting, and he's like, okay, come on, we're gonna go for a walk. It's February. He said, take your shirt off. I said, what was going on? And he's like, just trust me. I took my shirt off, and we walked around New York City with no shirt in February. And I was freezing. And we got back to the rehearsal room, and he was like, how do you feel? I said, cold. He said, I just want you to know what it felt like to be cold in New York. Remember this moment because it's gonna be June when we film this scene that takes place in winter. I said, you jackass, I was born and raised in New York. Why the hell would you, I know how cold it is out here. I didn't have no jacket in my old childhood. Why would you, I was poor. Why, well, I don't need this method acting thing. I'm not, but I did it. And movie turned out great, so maybe I should shut up. I remember specifically we went to a heroin clinic to talk to recovering addicts, and there's this one dude, and he was like, he's buff, like lean and buff, and I was like, and he was funny. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. For my character, that's what I want to do. I want to be the fun guy. And Darren was like, yes. And so when he has his fall from grace, that's when the audience is just like, oh shit, on top of her getting ass to ass, and this dude getting his arm chopped off, and the mother getting electric shock treatment, like all of us went on this ride straight to hell. It helped sell the tragedy of that movie, and I think that, yeah, that'll make you put your drugs down. Requiem is the greatest drug PSA ever.
No, I like a woman with a little extra something. A little cushion for the cushion.
White Chicks was a very hard movie because we spent 6 hours of makeup. It was supposed to be summertime in the Hamptons. We filmed wintertime in Vancouver, and then with 2 black men playing 2 white women. And I got brown eyes, and so they put blue eye contacts in, and man, the heels, my feet hurt so bad. I never want to play a white woman again. Everybody's like, it's so much work. I just want to play a black man, that's all. I want to do Black Guy, the movie. But crazy enough, I actually make a pretty cute white woman. So much so that Terry Crews developed a crush on me as the white chick. And I was like, Negro, if you don't get your ass away from me. He's like, you just look so cute.
Oopsie, I had a poopsie.
Girl, we gonna get along just fine.
Is there an art to toilet humor?
Is there an art to the fart? I mean, most people enjoy scatological humor. You know what I mean? I just feel like when you're a writer or you're a critic, it's hard to embrace like crazy humor like we had. We did it for the audience. We did it for the laymen. We did it for the real people that just wanted to laugh, that wasn't thinking too much. We did it for the writers that can't write about it, but they can still enjoy the movie. They just can't say they enjoyed the movie. We got like 1.5 stars on this movie, and 20-something years later, it's a classic.
We're brothers, we're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
Our family, we're a bunch of trolls. We were all a bunch of trolls. And there's always the same TV, 2 brothers, some white guys writing their show, and they're dressed like, like what they think the hip, cool clothes are, and, acting jive and hip, and it's unauthentic. And we wanted to shake things up, so we started with that. We're their brothers, they're happy, and they're singing, and they're colored. The reason why we did that is that was us shaking up pop culture. That was us going, we're gonna break some rules. We're gonna do some different shit. You're gonna see two black guys on TV with their own show like you've never seen it before. And that's what we did.
My mama died.
What? Mama died?
We looked at the content that was on television at the time. We was looking at these roles that black people had, and they always had us so melodramatic. You know, it was always black people being so sorry about something and being dramatic. So every little thing, we made fun of those characters and that writing by doing it and sending it up and be like, why? Over the littlest thing. If you watch Wayans Brothers, over the years we got better. The shows got better, the stories got better because we got more experience and we knew what was right, what was wrong. We found our pocket and then they canceled our black ass. But the beauty of God is the minute they canceled our show, Scary Movie became the biggest hit in Hollywood.
He did say if somebody was to buy him a red Mercedes 380 SL, he would sign a shoe contract for life with anybody, except Nike.
It was great to go play the legendary George Raveling. You know, something Michael Jordan wanted in the movie, and it was important, and Ben was like, it's an important role, it's not gonna get cut no matter what, because Michael Jordan wants this in the movie. And I was like, because normally somebody goes, you wanna do one scene, it's like, I don't know, you can easily cut that one scene, but I was like, oh, MJ said it's in? Oh, I'm there.
I'm looking for my favorite line, it's not in there. Then I noticed the whole second half of the speech is completely different.
What was the line you were looking for?
I have a dream.
Come on, get the fuck out of here. The I have a dream, you have that?
Yeah.
I got a call from Ben Affleck. I thought it was spam, so I almost hung up on his ass. And I heard J-Lo in the background. I was like, oh, maybe this really is him. It's a drama, but I want him to have like this personality, and you're such a good actor, and you're good looking, and people know you. And I was talking to J-Lo, and she was like, what about Marlon? And I was like, perfect. And he gave me a 45-minute phone call, and the ad said, would you be in my movie? I was like, Ben, you had me at hello. I seen Argo, yes, I'd be in your movie. I'd be an extra in you. If you told me you was filming a porn, I'd be like, bet, what time I'm showing up?
It's crazy, my father would never even say the phrase, happy birthday. Felt like if he said happy birthday, he would instantly go to hell. So he wouldn't say the phrase, and then call me on my birthday, he goes, hey son, happy Wednesday.
All true. This Negro never celebrated holidays. It was so weird growing up that my mom loved holidays and my dad didn't. Halloween, Christmas, nothing. And I think that's why we loved holidays so much, was just because we wanted to annoy the shit out my dad. This special Good Grief definitely helped me heal from the trauma of losing my parents.
Enjoy your life. Enjoy your parents. Enjoy your loved ones. As long as you can live and breathe, please do the best you can to get as much out of life as you can.
I had great parents, a great upbringing, wonderful brothers and sisters. I had a dope-ass childhood, but I just miss my parents, and I think talking about them every weekend on a stage, and oftentimes I'd cry on that stage. I cry more on a stage than I do in therapy. And that's crazy, because I spend $250 an hour for my damn therapy.
My mama told me, as a little boy, she said, baby boy, you learn to laugh in your worst moments, and you gonna smile the rest of your days. Losing my mother was my worst moment.
I think I cried that night because it was like saying goodbye to my parents. It was a send-off. Yeah, that experience was exactly that, cathartic. It was like, brought it all home for me. And now I know I got God, and I got my mom here, and my dad here, and I got wings. So now, like I said, I'm ready for the next level of life, for the next 50 years. And by the time I'm 100, I'm gonna finally look 50. Thanks for watching.
Hey, I'm Shailene Woodley, and today I'm going to be watching some scenes from my career with Vanity Fair. I'm very excited.
For 1 second, just focus on Anna. Please. I understand that the story ends in the middle of a sentence because she dies or that she becomes too sick to continue.
I am not interested in talking
But
about
that
that
doesn't
book.
mean that her family and her friends don't have a future, right? Right?
First of all, anytime I see myself as Hazel Grace, because my hair is so short and my brother and I look so similar, I just see my brother. The whole film was sort of leading up to this last week of being able to go to Amsterdam and film these scenes and work with Willem. Willem's generosity as an actor and his presence was so wonderful to be across from and to receive and play with and react to, because most of the film had just been Ansel and I, and he brought such a different energy to this movie. He served as this mysterious character for Hazel Grace for so long in her imagination that this scene really was the valve where she got to not be the one with all the answers and she got to ask all the questions. I remember it being like a very satisfyingly emotional scene to film.
They're fiction. They cease to exist the moment the novel ends.
But they can't. I get it in a literary sense or whatever,
I can't do this, Leda.
but it's impossible
Will
not
not
to imagine
indulge
what...
your childish whims. I refuse to pity you in the manner in which you're accustomed.
Pity, I do not want your pity.
Of course you do. Like all sick kids, your existence depends on it.
This phase of my life, like, I remember people would say to me constantly, like, oh my God, your life is gonna change so much once Divergent comes out, Fault in Our Stars, it's gonna be so different. And the only thing that was different was that I was a little bit busier. I was on more planes, I got like great Delta miles. And that's kind of it. Like, my lifestyle is not very exploitative. I don't spend a lot of time in places where there are paparazzi or cameras, or I'm sure if I had leaned into that, my life would have changed a lot, but it didn't interest me, and it wasn't what fed my soul. What fed my soul was, like, after we finished Fault in Our Stars, I was 21, and we finished it in Amsterdam, and I moved to Italy and just lived in Italy as a 21-year-old in a farming village where no one spoke English, and I spoke no Italian, and I had to learn Italian. And a lot of my 20s, during this heightened moment of maybe what externally to the world looked like a big life of fame, for me felt like a life of abundance because I was doing what I loved and I never took it for granted. And then in the in-between moments when I wasn't on a film set, I was living the life that I wanted to live and seeking out experiences that fed my young adult life.
You behind this petition? Excuse me? I asked you a fucking question.
Hey, whoa, calm down, calm down.
Was it you?
What are you gonna do, huh? Choke me?
Whoa, hey!
Excuse me.
Stop! Oh!
Oh my God!
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm gonna sue you!
This scene makes me laugh because I love Laura so much. Where you get out, like, she's my sister, we're homies. And this scene was funny to film, and it's also funny for me to watch because we did this 8 years ago, almost 8.5 years ago. And the way that I experience my confrontation now, or my rage or anger, is so different. I see, I'm like, oh my God, Jane, me, I was so angsty during this time in my life. When I watch this scene, I see a young woman trying to figure out how to exert her power and not know where to place it. She's not really living from like a grounded place in her body. She's living from sort of this, how do I assert control in a situation that feels so out of my control? I have to do something about it and I don't really know what to do.
Is her eye okay? Apparently. She'll be fine. I need to get out of this town as soon as possible.
I got a call in I'll never forget, it was November or October of 2015. I was really sick at the time, and I was not at all exhausted by acting or the artistry and the craft of storytelling, but I was really exhausted by the act of Hollywood. And I got a call about Big Little Lies because Jean-Marc Vallée, our beautiful creator, director, who has since passed, had wanted me to play Jane. And I was desperate to work with him. I thought he was such an incredible artist and filmmaker, but I was really dead set on finding myself. And then I got a call from Laura the day before I left for India, or maybe I was actually already in India and I hadn't turned my phone off yet. And she just said, listen, I know where you're at in your life. I've been there before too. It's a lot. This world is an illusion, but what isn't an illusion is what you love to do. And what I see in you, Shay, is your purpose, at least in this moment in your life, is to be a storyteller. And I think it's a massive mistake for you to walk away from this opportunity that you really should lean into. It was because of that call that I decided to leave India and come back to the United States, and it forever changed my life. And so in so many ways, I'm grateful for Laura, but that was a massive moment of courageous friendship to say, I think that you're making a mistake, and I'm gonna be brave enough to tell you why, because I really see you, and I see something you can't see in your own life right now.
Just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. I completely lost control and I stepped out of line and I should have never shoved you like that, and there's no excuses, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about Big Little Lies is that we're all actually friends in real life. We have a text chain going, and it's constantly like a check-in every few weeks. Hey, what's the update? It's still happening. I keep being told that there's going to be a season 3, but I haven't read anything yet, so.
Don't get me wrong. There's a certain beauty in your resistance. Your defiance of categorization. But it's a beauty we can't afford.
One of my favorite things about watching these Divergent scenes with Kate is that we've become very close since filming these movies. And she's so silly. She's one of the silliest, playful, hilarious, like lives in the frequency of joy humans that I know. And to watch her and I as enemies in this, oh gosh, it's so funny. Why am I enemies with all my friends when I'm in movies? It doesn't make any sense. I loved Divergent and the whole series because of the action. I love action so much. To me, it's like dancing, and I love to dance. It's just like movement choreography fascinates me. And I was so lucky in this movie to have the most remarkable stunt woman. Her name's Alicia, and she had just finished doing Avatar, the first one, and she was the woman who made all of the movements and created all of the movements. And I remember I was just like in between takes, I'd just sit and watch her like a little nerd because I was fascinated by that side of movie magic. What you don't get to see when you see this movie, you think it's me being Tris, but half of the scene is Alicia making me look like a badass. The wild thing about stunts is that they are dangerous no matter what, no matter how skilled you are, no matter how many times you practice a routine, there's always the chance that something can go wrong. I don't think I've ever talked about this. We were doing this scene where I'm running down the track trying to catch the train. I grabbed the train handle, but my boot got stuck in one of the cracks of the platform I was running on, and I had 0.1 seconds to decide whether I was going to dislocate my shoulder or just fall full sprint onto my head. And so I thought that might be the better idea, which in retrospect, I don't know if that was the right decision. And fully fell face forward. I remember coming to and everyone being like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And that was at the phase in my life where I was like, I have to be a hero all the time. I can't ever ask for help. Like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. And somehow finished that day. And I remember getting home and looking at myself in the mirror and being like, oh, I'm seeing 3 of myself right now. I am so not okay. Stunts are there. It's a no joke game to be a part of, but I do love it. I felt very devoted to what the story and what this series was and what it meant to people, and it was also just fun. I got to we were making these movies with our homies, like Zoe Kravitz is in it, and Miles Teller, and Theo James. Like, it was just a good time, a sweaty, hot time for years in a row in Atlanta. I definitely wanted to make the fourth one.
What faction do you think that you would be a part of?
I'm just like dauntless by nature. I really love tactical shit. I kind of like the group mentality of being a little bit of a rebel. I don't know. I'm a Scorpio. I can't help it.
Look, whatever you two fought about over Christmas, you have to drop it. Grow up. You love your mother loves you.
I can't drop it.
You have to.
This scene in particular was a scene that I auditioned with. And my first audition, I walked out of it feeling like, I slayed it. I'm gonna get this movie. And I didn't get a call back. And I was so confused, and I begged my agents for a year almost. I emailed them every week and said, please just get me notes. Please get me notes. What did I do wrong? I know I'm supposed to do this film. And the casting director was just like, Alexander's not interested. Like, she wasn't good. I like went in and I cried, and it was like this whole thing. And finally, after a year of me bugging my agents, I was able to get a call back. And they gave me some notes, and the notes were like, don't cry, don't do anything, just be honest. And that was the audition that got me the movie.
Dad, Mom was cheating on you. That is what we fought about. When I was home at Christmas, I caught her with a guy.
On the day when we were doing this scene, AP came up to me, sat by the couch and put his hands up, and he looked me in the eye and he just said, stop acting. But like in a really kind, compassionate, gentle way. Be you is really like what he meant. That one note that Alexander gave me, I feel like shaped my entire career as far as who I became as an actor. And that's what this scene taught me how to do. And this was the scene where I got to learn it for myself because of Alexander.
Caught her with a guy, what does that mean?
I was on my way to swim in the Black Point pool with Brandy, and suddenly I see Mom and some douchebag walking into a house. His house, I guess.
Just some guy, it could be anybody.
And he had his hand on her ass. It was gross.
The only film I had seen George in before working on The Descendants was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Because I didn't really know much about film. And so I knew he was this big movie star guy, but like I didn't care that he was a big movie star guy. I got to know George because he would play basketball with the Transpo guys. He would hang out at lunch with the caterers, with the crew. He's such a professional and such a genuine human being who just loves to do what he does, and being around that energy every day as a young person was so inspiring, because to me I was like, this is what film sets should feel like. And now that I've worked on many, it's not usually the case. Like, it's a very rare thing to have an actor be as involved with the set and the crew as George was. To this day, one of the most profound experiences of my life.
You know, I could call up that Kim Jong-il wannabe and complain if you want. I mean, by the time you get home, you barely even have time to eat and do your homework, let alone have any fun. You're only young once. You should be having a little fun.
Oh, she had fun, y'all. She had fun. I mean, I was 15 when I shot this scene. When I started Secret Life, I didn't know who Molly Ringwald was. I was 15, didn't grow up with a TV. Like, every one of my parents' friends were like, you're working with Molly Ringwald. And I was like, what is her, why? I don't get it. Because I had never seen Breakfast Club or 16 Candles or any of her films. So I got to know her as just this like beautiful older sister, motherly figure to me, who was really protective of honoring like my authenticity as a young person and who I was, and just being like a kiddo playing a kiddo. She protected me in that way, and I'm so thankful for that, because there is a pressure for people to grow up very quickly, especially when it comes to Hollywood. And I mean, listen, the truth is, I was 15 years old. I signed a contract for 6 years having read one episode. And look, I'm so thankful for Secret Life. I got one of my best friends, Megan Park, who's smashing it as a writer and a director right now. I got to meet Molly. There's so many beautiful things that happened because of Secret Life. And also, there was a lot of lessons that I learned in terms of storytelling in general, and the types of messages that I want to be putting into the world or maybe not putting into the world. And Secret Life was a great opportunity to learn those lessons at a very young age. Starting with, like, you know, if you sign a contract, maybe read more than just one episode. It was a fun journey and it was a great time, and I definitely learned a lot.
I should know better than to drink what they gave me. And
these were boys that you knew? Like
oh,
boys from
yeah.
high school?
Yeah. But still. Anyway, it's not like it hurt your face, even though it was, because, what they gave me, like, really, I mean, it works. It knocked me out. And I did not feel anything. And
Gia is sort of explaining to Lena, after hearing some very vulnerable confessions from her, how subconsciously Lena has created a life for herself that mirrors the value of her own self-worth because of an event that happened to her when she was younger. This is something that I'm familiar with because of friends of mine who have been through something very similar. It's shocking to imagine that this happens to so many women, but it does. And so being able to handle this scene with a lot of care and a lot of devotion to the truth of what this experience can be like for so many people with Betty, and have them echo and mirror these two characters and their experience, was wild and trippy and emotional and difficult, and I think raw is just the best word to use. It's an opportunity to see how some of us grapple with trauma and actually don't grapple with it.
Because it, like, ripples through the rest of your life. Dude, the trauma of assault, that, like, it
wait,
can affect
can you stop
all
saying
of your
that?
choices.
Losing Aiden was the trauma.
No, that's not true.
Huh?
I just think there's no way.
It's my fault that I went with those guys, right? If I had trusted Aiden.
It is not your fault. Lena. Dude.
Literally is.
It is not.
Gia's an interesting character because the character of Gia, personality-wise, was an amalgamation of some things that I thought she should be, some things Lisa thought she should be, and then whatever the Cosmos wanted her to be. For me, the similarities that I found in myself with her are that we are both just kind of hungry for truth. And I think Gia was very aware of that and very curious to understand why things happen the way that they happen. And one of my best friends, her child is a lot older now, but when he was about 2, I just remember it was like a year of, but why? But why? But why? But why? He just, everything was a but why. And to me, that's who Gia is. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I am Charlie Hunnam, and today I am going to be revisiting some scenes from my career. Let's watch. My son is twisted up. He just lost his mom. Goodness, right on. Okay. Holy moly, this is a great scene. The scene I think that I've been most nervous about in my whole career. For those that don't know the show, and I'm sorry there can be some pretty serious spoilers here, I confront my best friend who knew that my mother had killed my wife and failed to tell me that. It's about 9 pages of dialogue, and I said, I'm not rehearsing it. I just need to go away and prepare, and we're just gonna do it, you know? So we set everything up, and something happened in the room where life became what was happening. Like, we were actually in that room. This was actually happening to us. And I just broke down and started wailing inconsolably and sort of being violent with my guy. And it was really good. It was better than I could have ever hoped it was gonna be. Peter Weller was directing the episode and came in and went, I don't know what that was, but it was the greatest single thing I've ever seen. It's a wrap. We're not shooting it again. And then our beautiful cinematographer, Paul Maybaum, came in white. And he said, actually, we are shooting that again. The camera didn't roll. And it wasn't as good. But them's the breaks, you know? It's still pretty good. I had an extraordinary experience in researching this role and this character, where we had a wonderful producer called John Linson. And through John, I had access to a motorcycle club from Oakland, a well-known club. And I got to meet the guy that I was gonna play. There's a kid called Chill Will. His dad was also in the motorcycle club. And I met him and spent 4 days with him. And loved him and got to see what the real of this thing was. But I had to come back and work with Kurt because we were about to start shooting the show. Unfortunately, Will lost his life at that day. I then felt this responsibility in a way to honor him through this character.
Was it true?
I got a lot of criticism for some of the choices I made. You know, I wore white tennis shoes, but this kid was a 19-year-old West Coast, Oakland badass, and he's gonna wear sneakers and Dickies, and that was his vibe. So I modeled a lot on Chill Will, and I got a lot of criticism, you know, bikers wear leather boots sort of vibe. I just went, okay, well, you know, maybe most bikers do, but these ones don't.
Your mom was on the floor, freaked out.
Through the course of the show, I had the benefit of losing some of my brothers on the show. The epic, amazing Ryan Hurst, who played Opie, was the first to go, and he really struggled with saying goodbye to that character. He had this beautiful sort of articulation where he said that every actor carries around a graveyard full of characters that they've brought to life and then had to kill, but Opie was the first time in his career that the son of a bitch refused to die. He was just alive and in him. And he found himself in a bookshop. He said there's about 1,000 books in the bookstore dedicated to the creation of a character, and not a single line in any of them of how to kill him when you were finished. And so I knew that it was going to be rough after 8 years of living with Jax to try to say goodbye to him. I'd shared my psyche and body with him.
You can keep it to peel your grapes.
Now, that would have hurt a lot more if I left the ring on.
I had forgotten Aidan Gillen slapped the shit out of me. That was a real slap, and that was not scripted. I totally forgotten. I worked with Aidan Gillen on Queer as Folk, and we played lovers. And it was an amazing experience being exposed to his process and just an actor of that caliber, his integrity. That I remember just being so excited, 15 years later to go back and get to work with him again, until he slapped the shit out of me unscripted. And then I was less excited about working with him in the next scene. King Arthur, my first opportunity to work with Guy Ritchie, which was a dream come true. I'd grown up on Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, so it was very exciting to get to do this.
I see what you're doing. You're trying to get me to do something razzle-dazzle with that sword. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not getting drawn into this mess.
It felt like me and Guy had a shorthand from minute one. I knew that we were gonna love each other. He was less confident that that was gonna be the case, and he didn't want to see me. And King Arthur is like my movie. I wanted to become an actor from watching John Borman's Excalibur. Felt like if we're doing King Arthur, that's my role. But he didn't want to see me. And so I said, please, literally 20 minutes, a cup of tea. I'll fly myself to England. I'm asking just for 15 minutes so I can tell you how much I love you and this movie. And then if you still don't like me, then, that's, more fool you. Guy is fantastic with action. It's interesting. Some of the great action sequences in the film were never rehearsed, never actually written onto the page. I show up and Guy said, we're gonna go over to this other location and let's put together a little fight scene. And so he would just put these action sequences together, and a couple of the great ones from this film were just literally done in an hour on the day. I haven't seen this film since we made it. Let's roll it.
Come down from there.
No, sir. Here's fine.
I'll just shoot the horse out from under you.
You riding Captain Teague's animal?
I was handsome when I was 22. I remember when I met with Anthony Minghella, he said, why do you want to do this role? And I said, the confidence of youth, which is my last line in this film.
Tell you what I got on my side.
What you got on your side?
The confidence of youth.
And then kill the hero of the film that we've watched 2.5 hours trying to get home, and he gets home and I kill him. Sorry, Jude. I was suggested to Anthony Minghella, and he didn't know my work, and so he read some interviews with me. And I suppose I had done an interview at some point where I was talking about, I guess, being handsome in some capacity. I think I had been asked if I thought that was sort of an imposition to being a serious actor, and I said no. You need to capitalize on every opportunity that you have and all of, the tools in your toolbox. And if I'm getting hired over other actors because I'm slightly more handsome than they are, then that's unfortunate for them, but pretty good for me, and I'll take that.
That was a white. That was Irish. Now, your friend, Georgia here, we went down to visit you when we heard you were harboring deserters, and he told us, after some persuasion.
It's pretty intimidating. I remember feeling a bit out of my depth. I was having the opportunity to work with some titans of the industry. Ray Winston, for instance, and to be going sort of toe-to-toe with Ray Winston. I'd grown up being an enormous fan of his, and to me, the man was just a colossus. I think this was December 20th, something like that. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. We were up a mountain and we were doing a scene, and it's just sometimes it has to be manufactured in the editing. Sometimes there's just magic happening in real time. And that was one of those times. It was 4 o'clock in the morning and we were trying to force our teeth to stop chattering so we could say lines of dialogue. And it was just alive and magic and great. And then somebody called cut in the middle of the scene. And when a scene's going well and someone calls cut, there's a problem. And someone said, what is going on? And they said, sorry, the film froze in the camera. And that was a wrap for us. It's not very easy to defrost a camera. So we went home and came back in January and finished.
We say enough, fam? Huh? Now I got back up.
You couldn't back up a phone, you...
Bruv, this guy's trying to take my phone.
This is the perfect example of Guy Ritchie's mastery of filmmaking. This scene didn't exist in the script. We had these great boys, and it was a chase sequence, and they were coming with their, London banter. And he said, I just feel like we got to do a scene with these boys. Are you willing to just roll with it? I'm here to work, bro, let's go. Guy put the camera on me, he wanted to establish my side of it first, and he was just calling out lines of the best dialogue on the fly. Just tell him, and then I'll be gone like the darkness at dawn.
Then I'll be gone like the darkness at dawn.
Yeah, that was good, do it again. So I would say it again, and then he would say like, give him one of these ones. No, look at me, Charlie, give him one of these. So we just literally got a camera up and we shot that scene in, 45 minutes, something like that. And Guy really is a master of, working on the fly. I gotta try to get Guy Ritchie to hire me again. I don't know, I thought I did good work in this, and he's made a couple of movies since, no phone call, no invitation. Where's the love, Guy? Come on.
Who are you? What do you want? Henry Costin. I replied to your advert in the Times.
Robert is a really, really interesting, talented creature. We didn't really talk or hang out in any capacity other than on screen. And there's conflict between these characters, and I could feel it right off the bat. Okay, this isn't gonna be a situation where we're gonna hold each other's hands, cheerlead each other through this. We're gonna be standing on either side of a ring, and we'll meet in the middle and figure out what happens. I only got to know the character. I mean, if I met Robert now, it would be like I was meeting him for the first time. I really respect him and admire him, though. I think he's a terrific actor.
Are you drunk, Mr. Costin? No. You could have fooled me.
Well, I finished shooting King Arthur and was 185 pounds, and then had 10 days to pivot into getting ready for Lost City of Zed. And I was in a costume fitting with James Gray, and I took my shirt off and revealed my physique, and he started to cry. And I said, Something tells me these aren't tears of joy. And he said, I think you just ruined my film. You look like a pugilist. We need a Victorian gentleman. And I said, don't worry, I got 10 days. So I didn't eat anything for 10 days and I lost 10 pounds. So I was already down to 175. And then I weighed myself the day we finished 10 weeks later and I was 145 pounds.
My reputation as a man rests entirely on our success. I think you shall find me capable of every sacrifice.
I thought the central conflict that I could really relate to of Percy Fawcett was the balance between bringing forth what he wanted, his intention for his life, and his responsibilities that he had specifically to his family. And he opted to fulfill his sense of purpose more than he felt the need to adhere to the responsibility as a family man. That was something that I could really relate to and wanted to capitalize on. So I had decided when I left, I just took a little hold all. I didn't take anything with me but the script and 2 changes of clothes. I didn't take a phone or a computer and said to everyone in my life, my mom and my fiance and everyone, I'll see you when I'm finished. I have to be selfish. I have to feel you missing me. I have to be worried about you and I have to feel like a prick. So I'm sorry, but I'm gonna ask you all to do this for me. And they said, okay, we get it. We don't love it, but we get it.
Why are you trying to help me? I barely know you. You know nothing about me.
Because you're my mate.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Angry Lynn, he was having a particularly bad day. This is a project that's kind of like a dream come true for me. I read the novel, which this TV show is based on, 7 years ago. It's the first opportunity that I've had to fully produce. I mean, I've been involved in this for 7 years. I'm really pleased with the show, and we've only told the first chapter, the first quarter of the book. So I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to catch an audience and tell the rest of the story.
What? Listen. Here, we have nothing. This place is not working without everyone helping each other. Like I want to help you.
I really enjoy long-form storytelling, enjoy being able to play a character for a long period of time and to get to work with the other actors and develop the sort of molecular nuances of those relationships. So when I finished Sons, was very eager after a break to go back to television. And then I was given Shantaram, really just to look at as an adaptation for screen, not specific, but I knew the history of this book, that Warner Brothers had owned it for 15 years. Now this is a 980-page odyssey. And so to try to distill that down to 2 hours was, pretty much impossible. Looking at it through the lens of being a giant fan of long-form storytelling, I read the book and I called my producer friend who gave it to me and I said, this is a TV show, right? And he said, Chico, it's a TV show and you are Lynn Barber. Let's go to work. So we went to work.
With us both working together, we will make good money.
I really believe that India is the central character of this piece. And so it's set in India, in Bombay, which is now Mumbai, 1979. We lost the ability to shoot in India due to COVID. So then we lost our central character and had to pivot and ultimately go and shoot in Thailand. But luckily for us, we had an extraordinary production designer called Chris Kennedy, who literally created India for us in Bangkok, in Thailand. It was a real challenge, and I really believe that India is the lead character of the show. I feel quite proud of the way we were able to do that and sort of overcome those challenges.
Hello, I'm Hugh Grant, and I regret to say we're now going to go through some scenes from my career. Right, here they are. Does Natalie live here?
No.
Right, fine. Thank you. Sorry to disturb.
Yeah, aren't you the Prime Minister?
Yes. In fact, I am. Merry Christmas. Richard only wrote 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill. Other people directed them. And then, like a lot of writers I've come across, although he admired the directors he'd worked with, he was dying to do it himself. And we all dreaded it and thought he won't be able to do it. But actually, I watched this the other day, and I think he's a brilliant director, much more cinematic, great visuals. Hats off to him. Again, you watch these things and a lot of it's utterly preposterous. So, of course, the Prime Minister would have some civil servant who could find out exactly where she lived on this street, as many people have pointed out. But it doesn't matter. It's you ride the wave of sort of charm of the whole thing.
Ah, hello. Does Natalie live here?
No, she doesn't.
Oh dear. Okay.
Are you singing carols?
No, I'm not.
I think it was all in one night. I think we had to move along because they open in different ways. They're semi-detached houses or something like that. I'm sure we moved along. I look awfully tired. I think I'd just come in from shooting 2 weeks' notice in New York. And I seem to remember being exhausted here.
Oh, hello.
Hello?
This is my mum and my dad and my Uncle Tony and my Auntie Glyn.
Very nice to meet you.
And, this is the Prime Minister.
Yes, we can see that, darling.
My wife pointed this out the other day. She loves it, and she says it's about pain, the pain of love. And actually, all these stories are based on pain. Even the little boy is in pain, and I'm in pain, and Laura Linney's in pain because her brother is, in a very difficult situation in hospital. And it's all about pain, and then the best kind of British humour dealing with pain. And I think when humour in a film is solving something or a means of coping, I think it's trebly enjoyable.
Can I just say no to your kind request and leave it at that?
Yes. Fine, of course, Of course.
Probably all the time with Julia, as with any brilliant actress, you're just thinking, oh, Christ, they're really good. I'm not going to be as good as her. And she is great at emoting, and she's got that kind of quality where it looks like her skin is wafer thin. You can sort of see her soul. Whenever this, I'm flicking the channels at home after a few drinks and this comes up, I just think, why doesn't my character have any balls? There's a scene in this film where she's in my house and the Paps come to the front door and ring the bell, and I think I just let her go past me and open the door, and that's awful. And I've never had a girlfriend, or indeed now wife, who hasn't said, why the hell didn't you stop it? What's wrong with you? And I don't really have an answer to that. It was how it was written, and I think he's despicable, really.
I should have done this years ago.
Done what?
This.
Oh, fuck me, that hurt. Oh.
What the fuck do you think you're doing?
This.
Oh, Christ, not again. Oh.
The big fight was to stop stuntmen getting involved, because they always want to come in and say, and choreograph the whole thing and say, mate, it'd be great if, you swing a right hook and his head will go back. And I just thought, in action films, cowboy films, whatever, that's great. But this is two middle-class Englishmen, and they don't fight like that. I've seen them fight, and it's shit. So we managed to ban the stuntman. I think the last thing he contributed was probably the dustbin lid. And after that, it's just me and Colin messing about. Colin's very weak. He's virtually a piece of shellfish. So that wasn't really a problem. We were kind to each other. On the next film, we had another of these fights. And we'd got older, and we both put our backs out. And a chiropractor had to be summoned to the set.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
He doesn't grow at all, as I recall, between this one and the next one. But the one we've just made, he's considerably older, 24 years older or something. And I did worry that, the same, hello, nice little skirt, Jones, is great, but it's borderline tragic for a man in his early 60s. So we invented a whole sort of interim story in which he's did get together with some woman, and he did have a kid, and then they're estranged, of course, because he shags her sister, and he hasn't seen his son for 10 years. And it just made him a bit more, I think if he'd just been walking up and down the King's Road, chatting up girls for 24 years, it would have been hard to endure him.
don't go away, fill up the sky. We'll stay cozy and dry.
Well, I do love this film. I just got a very unsettling letter with the script from Paul King saying, look, we're making Paddington 2, and this time the bad guy in it is a washed-up old actor who's incredibly vain and no one really likes, and we thought of you. And I got over that hump.
Listen quick to the lovely
I went to a converted Victorian bathhouse, Fulham Broadway, and two charming choreographers worked and worked and worked at me. And I used to say to them, any better today? And they were very frank. They'd say, no, maybe worse. It got good enough by the end. And really, I'm kept alive by all these other fantastic proper dancers. And we had a fantastic choreographer, slightly camp chap. You'd never guess from the choreography, but he's a bit camp.
Well, it seems I didn't need the West End after all. Just a captive audience. What am I like? Guards, lock me up!
Even though it's a kids' film and a sequel, and perhaps you would expect it doesn't need too much thought, I always now put in vast amounts of thought and anxiety. And I had a whole vast backstory for Phoenix. I can tell you why he's called Phoenix. It's because he was conceived in the Phoenix Theatre on St. Martin's Lane by his mother, who was in love with a famous actor who was married and was shagging her on the side, and then she produced Phoenix. You know, he grew up as a sort of mummy's boy, and she shoved him into theatre school and and over-mothered him. I think that's why he's rather lonely and has never had a good relationship, and is a complicated character and very, very self-entitled and vain. So even though it's all madness and silliness, I did try to make him 3D. No actor, I don't think, including myself, really ever wants to play the charming lead. They're very difficult because if you're not careful, they go wet or sort of just slightly unappealing. When people perform Romeo and Juliet, no one wants to play Romeo. They want to play Mercutio or Tybalt, more complex or dangerous characters. And it's always been the same. And audiences, for some reason, are always drawn to the baddie, which is a fascinating thing. Why are they? And it must mean that we are fundamentally evil as human beings. The antagonist, the bad guy, represents the real truth of the human experience.
Except I did not have a relationship with Norman Scott.
Jeremy, I kept you off the witness stand to save your life. The prosecution had evidence. They had men from the pubs, men from the streets, men who know you.
All of them liars.
He was of an era when men couldn't, or Englishmen of that class and that background, couldn't possibly admit that they were gay. Even in the scene, he's sticking to that. He's saying, all those those witnesses were liars, and he frames this whole explanation as, one can only speculate that this might be the case. And he still can't quite let go. And I remember thinking that very final look to my barrister here, Norman Scott. I mean, one might say that Norman Scott was the best. I remember thinking this should be maybe one of the very few glimpses of the real quivering jelly in the soul of Jeremy Thorpe, how much he's suffered from having been so repressed. Although I couldn't admit this either, or Jeremy couldn't admit this, I loved Norman. It was a love affair. It was a thwarted love affair. And so I tried to be a bit vulnerable in this particular close-up.
Given those men, it may be, I suppose, one could imagine, that Norman Scott was the best.
It's quite tragic for the poor old boy. He gets off on this charge of trying to murder Norman Scott, his ex-lover. But as his mother whispers in his ear, you're ruined, because the scandal won't go away. And he never, after that moment, could go back into politics, and he'd had this glittering career up till then. And so it's sort of the end for him. The whole edifice is collapsing around him. He's there on YouTube, from interviews or whatever he was doing, TV shows in the 50s, 60s. I realized I could do a pretty good imitation of him. I'm quite good at imitations. And then I was scared because I thought, well, this has to be a lot more than just an imitation. Sort of took a huge Jeremy Thorpe bath, and I knew everything about him. I read every book about him. I met lots of people who'd known him as friends and as colleagues. I became slightly sort of obsessed with him. But there were certain odd keys, as there often are when you're trying to find a character. Jeremy Thorpe wore a particular kind of hat, and I was in a costume fitting, and it didn't look right, and none of the hats were right, even though they looked similar to this famous hat he wore. And then I just put it at a rakish angle, slightly on the back of the head, and there was Jeremy Thorpe. And that was more than just important in terms of hats. It was important, I see, yes, rakish, a bit of a chancer, bit of a gambler. He certainly was. He lived a very, very risky life. Getting dressed every morning for this character in these, he had very specific three-piece suits with a waistcoat and an absurd watch chain that no one had worn for decades. And this became quite a ritual every morning of getting dressed like that and putting on he wore a special ring and the chain and everything, and then there he was. But it's also a lot of makeup. I worked with a genius makeup team who created a look, if you know this real character, is pretty damn good. What was that song you used to sing when you were little? How did, with my hands on myself, that one. What have we here? These are my eye peepers, nothing to fear. Eye peepers, brain box and wibbly wobbly woos. That's what they taught me when I went to school.
You'll never hurt me.
Really? Are you sure? Did that hurt, darling? Did it? Did that fucking hurt?
With my hands on my... Well, it's a great piece of cutting there by Susanna Bier. It's wonderful. This was my idea, wibbly wobbly woos and with my hands on myself. It was a song that I used to sing with my cousins in the car. So well done me, because I think it's quite good, especially in contrast to smashing that poor girl's head against the wall. I remember dreading this scene. I remember thinking this is really, really difficult when it was on paper, that he's kind of breaking up and I thought, well, I may not be able to do this. And I did have a long panic about it, a long, long, long panic, sitting in my house in France, scribbling notes. And I don't think I ever planned my voice would crack. What I did do in this scene and in other scenes, when the real Jonathan made brief appearances, was I remember my eyes slightly defocused. I did something with my eyes where they don't quite see properly, just for a moment or two. That was my way of suddenly being the real Jonathan. And throughout, I had in my script, I always have zillions of notes in my script, and they were, in this case, they all were under two sections. There was always RJ for real Jonathan and FJ or something for fake Jonathan, which was most of him. It was mostly fake. He's this wonderful child cancer doctor who's just great and charming and lovely. And then just occasionally, the real guy would poke through. That's what they taught me when I went to school.
You'll never leave me.
Really?
You'll never...
It seems to me that that's how we all operate. There's always a sad jelly somewhere inside us. There's some psychosis, some hurt, something. And behavior is the layers we wrap around it to protect that jelly. American actors traditionally have gone on about emotion. I need to emote. Well, yeah, but most of the time that's hidden. We try to hide our emotions or pretend we're actually feeling something else. So there's very few moments, I think, in life when naked emotion comes through. It does, but it's rare, and especially if you're British. Yeah, I do suit some of these quite British characters who are incredibly defended and have layer upon layer of shell around them.
As I got closer to God through genre and rigorous study, as I worked on my personal relationship with Heavenly Father, and I think strengthened it. Do you know what I found? The more you know, the less you know.
I went through this process I have of going through the script with a very, very fine tooth comb and asking myself, why does he say this? Why does he do that? Every tiny moment, why? And sometimes the answers to those questions open a whole avenue of possibilities about what might have been his history, things that might have happened to him to make him who he is. And I typed them all into a computer, and the thing gets bigger and bigger and mushrooms into this huge biography. And whether or not that actually helps, I don't know. I think it does. But I know that it helps my nerves. If I do several hours of this work every day for weeks, even months before the filming, I feel a bit less tense.
And by the time I was 50, I was malnourished from the fast food of religion I'd been packing into my brain for the best part of a decade. Every sect, cult, creed, and denomination all claimed to be the one true doctrine, and yet none seemed true when held under the microscope.
I think the big debate for me in this scene was how much of what he's saying here he means. Did he ever have a wrestle with faith? Or how much is just dicking with them and beginning to unsettle them, which is something that he's addicted to doing with women, unsettling them, disorientating them, exerting control over them, and then, well, I shan't spoil the film.
So I wonder what else was out there. I promise you, the last thing I wanted to do was find the one true religion. But unfortunately, I did.
In a close-up like this one, as it pushes in on my face, I'm sure I did various versions in different takes where the creepometer was dialed up or down, because I needed to give the directors options in the edit. I felt that he was probably one of these guys, or one of these people, who sadly, despite incredible intellectual powers, he's a very bright man, just finds it hard to have friends and close relationships with people. They slightly recoil from him. And I have always felt that this was a source of great sadness to him. I've witnessed people I know and quite love who are like that and who compensate by trying to be fun. They try to be fun. They try to be pranksters, jokers, and they think this is going to make them popular, and actually it just makes them more and more creepy. But he's quite good at these things. So to begin with, it's plausible, and the girls come into the house, and it's only gradually that they realize there's something very, very wrong. There's two things I think you absolutely have to have. One is to understand their inner pain, because everything's compensation. I think all behavior is sort of compensation for some kind of suffering. And if you've got that, then the audience will be very interested. It's not just a character, a baddie. It's a human, and it's very much more watchable. Secondly, and it's sort of part of the same thing in a way, is that I've got to either like them or enjoy them. I liked being him. I certainly enjoyed being him. I'm surprised I said that. But in a way, I think you have to. That's enough of that. It was very nice of you if you did watch any of this. I appreciate it. Bye.
Hello, I'm Pedro Pascal. I am here to watch some scenes from my career.
Wow, sorry.
No, I wasn't looking.
Did you, lose your way?
Oh, no, I'm just going to Fisher Hall, which I know is on the Earth planet. Recently voted most pathetic,
Well, I'm lost, and I have a map.
This is one of the biggest jobs I ever got in my life. Everybody was dying to be on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So when I got season 4 premiere episode, I couldn't believe it. I just knew how badly everybody wanted to get on this show. So freshly out of school to get on it, I was like, well, I'm shooting to the top. And then I died after one scene. And we shot it on the UCLA campus. It was a night shoot. I was actually doing a play in Long Beach, and I had to miss the opening night. An understudy had to learn the part in just a couple of days and go on for me, because there was no way I could say no to doing this.
Well, I'll look for you in sight.
Yeah, maybe we can help each other figure out what the hell they're talking about.
Okay.
Maybe even make it through the year.
Good night.
Sarah was amazing. She took very good care of me. She taught me like tricks of the trade in a way, because I was one of the first on-camera jobs that I'd ever gotten. Tricks on how to kind of find your mark that I have kept with me to this day. She invited me, and she had her friends with her, and they had ice cream, and she was like, "Do you want some ice cream?" And I got to have ice cream with her and her girlfriends, and it made me feel really special.
Eddie, hey! Wait up. God, I was worried that something had happened to you, and of course it has, because you're a vampire.
I love seeing that scene because she's so good. There's just one I'm sorry that she has, and she has so much remorse that she had like left me behind, and I got turned and she couldn't save me. No wonder people were so obsessed with the show. She's so good.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
One of my early deaths. More to come.
Don't leave me alone in this world.
Never. Yeah, that's all me. Oh, God. We were in Dubrovnik. It was blazing, blazing hot. I had a double named Liang, and he was like a wushu martial artist trained since the age from the age of 7. I learned and practiced this fight more than I have any fight in my life. But the Jedi helicopter spins in the air, that's not me. But whenever you see my face, it is me. We shot this over a few days, actually. We shot this entire sequence in this like kind of amphitheater that was part of an abandoned hotel in Dubrovnik. There were rock formations that just hit up right up against the Adriatic Sea. I remember going for like just jumping into the water at Rap as a gift to finishing the day. Hapthor, gentle giant, so kind. Poor guy had to stay in that outfit. He was incredible. He's like he was an actor and a stuntman and a strongman. After this came out, he became #1 strongman in the world. He, like Sarah Michelle Gellar, gave me tricks of the trade in terms of how to keep my energy up. Because if I got too fatigued, he had the person that was looking after him look after me. Like, here, have a bite of this, eat this banana now. People always looking after me. Take care of me. Oh, it's horrible. Those are my teeth flying. This is perverse. Yeah! That's disgusting. As violent as it looks, he was very gently pressing up against my eyes. You'd think that his entire weight would be on me with the costume. I didn't feel him at all. He held his weight. So we're really just acting there. The blood was really cool. They had tubing through his costume all the way to his thumbs. So they pumped fake blood. We shot in September, but it was still pretty hot. And the sun was just like blazing onto us all day. So this like cold blood was such a comfort. And then he smushes my face.
Then I smash their head in like this!
Ew, that's not me. They had to kind of put like all of these different prosthetics and place them all over my face, and they were so cool to the touch, and then pumped blood that started to pool for this like wide shot from above. It was a game changer. It's the reason that I'm here now, I think. I don't think I know. I still can't believe it happened. That David Benioff, Dan Weiss would take this chance. They could have had, I don't know, whoever they wanted, and that they actually paid attention to somebody who had a lot of, regional theater, off-Broadway work and episodic television on their resume to step into this kind of a part in the height of their popularity. And to this day, I kind of am indebted to them for my career. One of my best friends, Sarah Paulson, her best friend Amanda Peet had a lot to do with it because they put my audition tape in front of them. And the experience that I had in doing it, because I was such a fan of the show, it didn't even need to change anything for me, for it not to be as special as it was, because I was obsessed with the show, and then getting to go and be with this ensemble and on those locations in a comfortable costume and in a really good role. I could barely fucking believe what was happening to me, to be honest with you. I was sitting in the throne room during Tyrion's trial, and I had a view of everyone, and I was with all of these main players, and it was just nuts. This is sort of like the introduction episode of my character, and that's the incomparable beauty Adriana, who's as talented as she is beautiful. What's interesting is that I think that this is sort of a moment that kind of defines the entire character of Peña to me. And it was funny because the director didn't want me to pick her up and take her out of there. He found it a little too heroic. And he may have been right, but I remember finding Peña, the character, in that scene and in that moment, and with Adria, to be honest with you. We just had one episode together, and she plays a prostitute, and we're, having sex, and I'm using her as an informant. She's brave enough to risk her life to get me information so that I could help get her out of there. All of that remorse, all of that like complex sort of morality, I don't know, just like ask for forgiveness, to be honest with you, in an instant of just simply, like in just seconds. And that to me was sort of like the seed of the character throughout, because nothing like that happens for me for the next 3 seasons. On the page, the character is like, he's a DEA agent, and they're not really offering up a lot of like nuance in terms of who the character is. So it was stuff like this and moments like this with other actors where I was kind of like finding him and understanding the tone of which I would approach playing him.
She gonna be okay?
Physically, yeah. Mentally, I haven't got a fucking clue.
Left me behind on purpose.
Look, man.
If we're gonna be partners, I don't get left behind. I didn't come all the way down here, Penny, sit on the fucking sidelines.
We were in Medellin, and that was also a night that I understood it was like the visual experience of the show is gonna be unlike anything anyone's seen. And this was my lucky follow-up to Game of Thrones. This was the first job I got after Game of Thrones.
I'm in all the way. Is that understood?
Understood.
I hope you know what that means.
Boyd and I were in this together. Boyd was a leader for me in that, like, once we signed on, he got in touch with me. He wanted to meet up early. It was his idea to go to Quantico together and meet the real guys that we were playing and go through a training experience. I didn't want to do any of that shit. I was like afraid of all of it. I was very intimidated. And I was just like, I don't want to be around those guys. I didn't say that, but that's how I felt secretly. It wasn't thrilling to me at all, but it was it was incredibly thrilling to actually do it and to go and to be there and to be challenged in that way. And I turned out to be really, really good. I think that there's so much that goes into making this scene work. I think one is Ludwig Göransson's score, which is so perfect. The puppet work is unbelievable on Grogu. And the other interesting thing is that Jon Favreau is so collaborative that I remember having a conversation, and there was like an episode, it was before this one, and maybe he'd already had this planned already, but I remember talking to Jon and saying, if there was a moment where I took off the helmet, I think we should really hold off, and it should be because the child needs to see my face. Breaking the creed completely just because I want to introduce my soul to Grogu. My idea was in a different spot, and then Jon ended up making it a much better part of the series. But I really felt like heard, and it was really special for it to become the moment that it became, because it was somewhat of a collaborative thing.
Did you know that it's Luke Skywalker, or did you think it was Luke?
I knew it was Luke Skywalker. Who do you think you're talking to?
So I'm gonna give you one last chance. Tell me what happened with the Fireflies.
Oh, I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it?
No.
Really?
Yeah. I could talk about it. This was one of the hardest and easiest, if that's impossible to understand, one of the hardest and easiest days of work I've ever had. We did this scene all day long. And I know that the context of things coming to an end as far as getting to play Joel alongside Ellie, and then of course what the actual story is, and the confession, and all the walls coming down completely in front of Ellie, and finally saying the words that have been impossible for Joel to say, telling the truth, basically recognizing the truth, and recognizing that truth will mean that Joel loses Ellie for good, but that he loves Ellie so much he can't lie to her again.
Making a cure would have killed you.
Then I was supposed to die. That was my purpose. My life would have fucking mattered, but you took that from me.
This was towards the end of all my shooting for The Last of Us, and Bella and I, it was just really fucking intense, and in that it was an easy day of shooting. We were beautifully taken care of by Neil Druckmann, who was directing the episode. Bella and I are linked souls, and this was the ultimate manifestation of that as scene partners on this porch. And so we took such good care of each other, and just kind of lived in the pain of it the entire day. I remember just being absolutely emptied out by the end of that day.
I would do it all over again.
Because you're selfish.
Because I love you. In a way you can't understand.
The context of it was all in that I knew that it was ending, that my run on the show was coming to an end. And then you think about what the story is. It was just sort of like living the story out and having all of the nuance of what my relationship to my scene partner was in the experience of doing the show. And the idea of just hurting them, the idea of losing them, those things just broke my heart. It was a very surreal feeling of having the safety of this relationship, and that safety kind of opening all of the channels in your heart. That's how it felt. I don't know what the cut is, which is why I don't want to see it. I'm Harry.
Lucy.
You're the matchmaker.
You're the brother. What are you doing at the singles table?
My mother wants me to marry. That is a very, very big, what is that, lily on my corsage? It's a very big, it looks like a banana. Dakota is so beautiful. I have a hard time with this movie because I'm just who are you to talk to a woman as beautiful as that? I look at her. All I'd ever shot in New York City were Law and Order episodes, which was really, really cool because you'd be in the middle of Central Park on a night shoot, which was it's a nightmare if you describe it, but it's the middle of winter, freezing cold, and you're shooting in Central Park and you're a corpse or something. And in this, it was different. It was sort of all of the movies that I had built so many dreams on were so New York City related. It drew me to go to school in New York, live the next 20 years of my life after I was 18 in New York City. And so this and the magic of being in a movie that, because we were in a hotel on Central Park South, it was the spring. I remember they were kind of going for walks, getting Gray's papaya and a soft serve, and sitting in the park with Dakota, with my friend Coco, who did my beautiful hair. It was a very, very, very magical time. I'm good friends with Dakota. She's an excellent scene partner, which is probably why the camera, why the shot will never would turn away from her. What's it like?
What's what like?
Being a matchmaker.
It's like working at the morgue. Or an insurance company.
starting Materialist, I'd gotten really injured, and I was coming out of a very bad shoulder injury, and being in a sling and shooting The Last of Us, because there was a strike that sort of really, really scrambled the schedule for a lot of people, and then a big injury for me that disrupted my life in a way that I hadn't expected. I'm a pretty fragile person, so I think that that living with this kind of like pain, I got pretty sad. I was like, I don't feel ready to do this. I don't feel ready to play the catch of New York City. In that feeling, I realized that was my throughway into the soul of the character who had this big secret, the perfect access to what his vulnerability actually is. I don't know if it works, but that was the only way I knew how to get through it. Do you want a drink?
Sure.
What do you want?
Coke and beer.
I didn't have a choice because I couldn't sort of lie my way out of where I was at. I had a harder time doing that than I had doing the porch scene, for example, in The Last of Us, because you know, to cross the floor of like a wedding reception and to be the guy who everyone's looking at, you know, it was so impossible for me to believe that it could be convincing, and I knew that I couldn't sort of bury the insecurity or the vulnerability. I wish I could compartmentalize better in life, but I don't know how. And so it was great to realize that was the only way to understand the character, was to not sort of like fake it.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You're late? I just said that. Are you pregnant?
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world.
And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth.
It's been a dream to join the MCU, and I think that to be invited into a family and to also just kind of step into what is an ensemble. The movie is called The Fantastic Four, and I pride myself on kind of being, I don't know, the funny guy on set. And I have to tell you, if there is a competition of who's funniest, who is smartest, and who is the most talented, I'm number 4. And I'm not even being modest here. I have never been around such, how dare they, I've never been around such talented fuckers in my life. Joe is astonishing to me. Eben is one of the funniest. Eben to me is a writer in the way that his mind works and the zingers that just come out in conversation. And Vanessa Kirby is a force of nature. And she was a leader for me in terms of getting into material like this and making it and elevating it as much as we could and making our relationship as real as it could possibly be. I have no idea what they'll end up using, but what she and I put into it was really a marriage story for us in the most human way. Keeping a family together, starting to expand on that family, the fear of that.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
I'll confess, I didn't come at it with any sort of attempt at distinguishing it from previous authorships. I need all of the context and all of the information to kind of like, it's silly to use a word spiritually, but to spiritually kind of like enter into an experience, because I can't compartmentalize. I need all of it to be, it's all happened. It's all been seen and done before by many. And so I want it to all kind of like be living in my like imagination.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Are we safe?
I don't know. Again, Coco Ulrich did my hair, slicked it, nailed it. Not a wig. My hair, my hair. Come on, Galactus.
Has to be us.
I did all my stretching for real. I credit the visionaries, costume designers, the production design, our DP, and then be held ultimately by the vision that Matt Shakman, our director, has for the telling of the story, and the way that Kevin Feige has always hoped for the Fantastic Four to be seen. That is so much of the work, because clearly the world is so unique and distinguished in its aesthetic. The theater of that is something to step into. I don't know if I do it well, but they had to keep on pulling me back from a very mid-Atlantic, early 60s kind of like talk. They had a dialect coach that was sort of going to help us into that kind of dialect. And I took to it so well that they had to pull, they were like, we actually, because I was like, well, welcome to the family, July 25th, summer 20, and they were like, talk more like yourself. And I had a hard time doing that because I was so into the era, which for me was something to step into rather than so that it's different than what we've seen before. I mean, I think that what they've created is something that we haven't seen.
We will protect you.
My feet.
So maybe I just talked to your video. Ask where all your deputies went.
Okay, well, why don't I just ask your governor about her little catch and release policy, okay? Because if it wasn't for that, maybe I could hold on to my deputies and the people we arrest.
I know one of them was fired for excessive force and another one was forced to quit by a YouTube First Amendment auditor.
Okay, yes, that is the same auditor that drove away your
undersheriff died of a fentanyl overdose.
From handling fentanyl.
This is one of the most exciting things I've ever done in my life. One, Ari, as a filmmaker for me, when I saw his first movie, it was a game changer for me. And I think that it provided an experience of which I feel like I'm always sort of chasing, because I had such magical experiences like as a kid and throughout my life, seeing movies where you just start to kind of like dream of being a part of something like that, or at least having that experience in the movie theater again. So one, getting to work with Ari was a dream. Getting to work with Joaquin was a dream.
I'm going to make a better and stronger and more honest leader than you. So let's just let the voters decide.
You're making a mistake.
Is that why you ran here all panicked?
I came to save you from embarrassment.
Oh, gee whiz, I'm tearing up.
My voice is shaking a little bit. I'm having a visceral reaction because so much of what I've experienced is very different than the experience of shooting a scene like this, because Ari would shoot it from start to finish, and it was kind of a lengthier scene, and it felt more like having a dance with another actor, and that actor being Joaquin was just a very special experience for me. And Ari would let us play it through. And I remember there being this kind of like Prospero tempest kind of storm that rolled in the middle of shooting, just like blowing everything everywhere. And it just seemed like an otherworldly thing that was underlying the kind of like tension between the two characters, and the joy that I felt by getting to work with Joaquin. I guess I just am like, I can't believe I'm in it. Thank you so much for watching. Did you really have to watch all of that as much as I did?
Hello, my name's Sacha Baron Cohen, and today I'm going to be watching some scenes from my career with Vanity Fair.
My name is Borat Sagdiyev. I son of Bala Sagdiyev and both of the rapists.
In the movie Borat, the only person who was in on it was Pamela Anderson. For the first time we shot with her, she had a dog wedding between her and another celebrity on the beach in Malibu. And Borat interrupts the dog wedding. I'm on a raft, I get pulled in by a jet ski, and I'm playing guitar, singing this song. You'll be my wife, I treat you nice. We will make love whenever I like. We shot that movie, he interrupts, she tells him she doesn't know who he is, he gets bundled. Again, in a real scene with real people. And we looked at it and we thought, we can do better. That last scene isn't good enough for us. So we went to the studio, we asked for more money. Amazingly, they gave us some. We came up with this idea of Borat has this marriage sack and he's going to stick it over Pamela Anderson, and that will mean that she is married to him.
Will you marry me?
No thanks.
No, agreement not necessary.
And everyone is real in this, obviously apart from myself, Ken Division playing Azamat, and Pamela Anderson, who are all in on it. Everyone else, they're real fans. We shot the scene twice in one day. The first time, the fans didn't do anything. I stick her over my shoulder, no one did anything. And this time they get involved, and I've got her over my shoulder, and actually I bumped into Pamela Anderson on Saturday night at some event, and she said, I got to tell you something, which was when you span around, I hit my chin, and there's a bit of bone floating around since that day. She told me one time, she goes, I'm going to show the movie to Kid Rock. And I said, all right, tell me how it goes. It was a little private screening in Malibu with a bunch of Hollywood types. I said, how did it go? And she said, we're getting divorced. And I went, ha ha. She said, no, we're actually getting divorced. She filed for divorce the next day and put reason for divorce. She wrote Borat.
Pamela, where? Pamela, I will give you your own plow.
When we run out, there were some security guards. They'd just come back from Iraq, and they were told to just take me down. They tackled me, and I cut my head open, actually. So that was the only real time that I got injured. So in retrospect, me and Pamela both got injured in that scene. It was a little worse.
Pamela, I am not attracted to you anymore. Not.
Straight Dave! Straight Dave!
Yes, so Bruno was a dangerous movie to make. First time we shot this, my assistant comes in, Lutz. You know, I say, does any of you want to fight? Come on! And he comes in to fight Straight Dave. And we have a fight, and I start beating him up. He's got blood capsules. It looks pretty realistic. We'd rehearsed the fight. And the audience stopped booing. Why? Because I looked like a tough guy who knew about Ultimate Fighting. He looked like a nerd who comes in, and I beat him up, fair and square. And I got too into character. I kind of lost sense of what I was meant to be doing legally. And I challenged anyone in the audience to a fight. Come on! And if you want to fight, come in here, kicks the shit out of you. I was instructed by my lawyer, whatever you do, do not incite a riot. And I see this huge guy stand up, and he runs towards the cage, and I'm like, this is fine, I'm going to be protected. You know, I got security guards. I go, wait a minute, where are the security guards there? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? I see they're right down at the other end of the arena. A fight had been broken out. This guy jumps, grabs hold of the cage, does a flip, lands in front of me. He's like a 6'8", super tough UFC fighter, and he roars. And luckily, we had built a trap door in this cage. There was debate as to whether we should. We built a trap door, and I had a bodyguard who'd just come back from Afghanistan, and the code word was go, go, go. And I realized with Larry Charles, the problem was that it looked like I was too dominant, and we shoot the same scene another time. This time, we put fake barbed wire at the top of the cage, because that would psychologically inhibit people from jumping in. And also we zip tie all the chairs down. I redid the scene. And so what happens was I turn around and Lutz attacks me from behind. He plays dirty. And so the crowd are on my side. Then I fight him. Then I beat him up. There's blood. Pin him back. The crowd are on my side. Then I kiss him. What I noticed was when people were homophobic and they found out my character was gay, they would often threaten violence and sometimes become violent. And so we're making out on the floor, and suddenly I see one metal chair fly in. I'm thinking, how the hell did that happen? Somebody had brought in a knife and started sawing through the zip ties, and I hear go, go, go. I go run out, and we fortified the sides of this trapdoor in this tunnel that we'd built. And you see in the wide a bunch of the crowd trying to break into the tunnel. There's a car with the door open that's running. We drive and we get out of there. And we basically wrote this movie as if it was a rom-com. And instead of it being at a ball game, you know, where everyone's cheering when they kiss, the idea would be to make them rather upset.
I wrote this song with my two best buddies. Yeah, very nice. Obama was a traitor. America, he hated.
So the band in this scene we hired, they knew what we were going to do. And for this scene, actually, is one of the 2 times in Borat's subsequent movie film that I wore a bulletproof vest. This was a gun rally. A lot of people had semi-automatics. And so I was advised by my security guard to wear a bulletproof vest. I said to him, well, what happens if they start using these semi-automatics? And so he built an amplifier, which you can see on the left, that is basically pretty much bomb-proof. And the idea was, if they really started shooting, I would jump behind the big amplifier, and then security would come and get me, take me to a waiting ambulance, and get me out of there.
Dr. Fauci, what we gonna do? Inject him with the Inject him with the
This was in the middle of COVID. We were the first movie to go out during COVID to shoot. So we were, experimenting with how to stop the virus spreading. And actually, the second day of filming, half the crew had COVID, despite us taking around. We had a testing machine that was like a huge 1980s photocopier, but they'd forgotten to supply us with 2 parts. So it would take 3 days for a result. So we'd shoot, and then 3 days later, we realized, 5 people had COVID in there. And pretty soon we were just shooting with regular TV cameramen from the local area. And these people here didn't believe in COVID. They believed it was a liberal hoax. And they believed that it started in China. And they called it the Wuhan flu, which was a phrase that Trump had used. And the reason I did this scene was I wanted to demonstrate that these lies and conspiracies ultimately would lead to violence. So this kind of fun country and western song that's actually written by my brother, it was all about injecting people with the Wuhan flu. And it was warning really about that, saying that lies fed to good people will actually lead to good people committing heinous acts.
Who wants to chop them up like the Saudis do? Journalists, what we gonna do? Chop them up like the Saudis do.
There was a member of Black Lives Matter who went undercover into this crowd because there was a rivalry between these 2 groups. And that person recognized me and went, oh, Sacha Baron Cohen, it's Borat. People started storming or trying to storm the stage. What they didn't realize was we had actually paid for the security for the event through a right-wing super PAC that we'd created. And so it took these guys a long time to actually storm the stage. Eventually they did. One of them pulled a gun, and I was lucky enough to have a security guard that grabbed the arm of the guy and whispered in his ear, "It's not worth it, buddy," which is apparently what you do when someone's about to shoot you. And then I was escorted out, went into a waiting ambulance, and the security guard said, "Let's go, 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 go. Shut the door, let's go." And I see the director, Jason Walliner, running, and he's being chased by some of these guys with guns. And my security guard said, "We can't." I said, "Let's wait for him." He goes, "We can't, let's go, 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 go." And I decided to wait for him. Jason jumps in, we close the doors, and we're surrounded. And I say to the security guard, "The doors are closed, right? You've locked all the doors." He goes, "Yeah, absolutely." At that point, one of the doors gets pulled open and they start trying to pull me out. Through pure physics, I grab onto the door and use my legs to push against their pulling and managed to close the door, then chased by a bunch of guys. I was hiding out in an Airbnb nearby in Tacoma, and they found out where I was. And then really I was changing venue every night because these guys who were very connected in the area were looking for me. So that was the last kind of week of Borat 2. was quite intense.
Welcome, monsieur. Sit yourself down and meet the best innkeeper in town. As for the rest, all of them crooks, rookings the guests and cookings the books.
This is Master of the House from Les Miserables. I loved this musical from when I was a kid. I saw it in the West End in London. And Tom Hooper asked me to do this movie. I couldn't because I was shooting The Dictator at the time. So I said, the only way I'll do it is if you do it right at the end of the shoot. And he says, all right, you've got this big scene, Master of the House. It's a really complicated scene. And he said, listen, would you choreograph it while I'm filming? And at the end of every day, show me what you've got. So I kind of worked as a kind of assistant for him. And, you know, he'd shoot, I'd show him what we had. It was a really complicated scene of how we steal stuff, and we had to actually affect the set and where stuff would go into. And then we kind of worked together. He was completely into collaboration. I'm better if I collaborate. If I surround myself with great people who are a lot smarter than me, they'll think of great ideas, they'll come up with stuff. And it's that creative process. I'm not a auteur, I'm not a solo guy who sits in a room. I'm someone I need to vibe off people.
Master of the house, keeper of the zoo, ready to relieve them of a sou or two, ordering the wine, making up the weight, picking up their knickknacks when they can't see straight.
It got to a week before this scene, and because Tom Hooper insisted on everyone singing live, you know, most musicals are pre-recorded. This one was sung live, and I'd done that once before on Sweeney Todd, where I sang a few takes live and then used it. I told Tom Hooper that, and he was like, let's do that for the whole movie. We were singing 10 hours a day, and I lost my voice. So I went on voice rest. That means you don't speak for a week, anything. You don't even whisper. This was the first time I opened my mouth, and the first time I'm singing, and my voice is really croaky, and I kind of hate it. And I said to Tom Hooper, I go, I'll record it today, but obviously we're going to redo my voice. Unfortunately, he used the croaky, husky voice. I suppose it gives me this kind of criminal feel to it.
Everybody raise your glass.
You have set me free, and for that I thank you.
I will never shake your hand, ever. But I will give you this.
So this is an interesting scene. This kiss here was actually an idea that I had. I went up to Adam and I said, listen, I've got this idea that they kiss at the end, and then I say, sir, you taste of America. And he said, I don't know. And I go, please, I think, can we try it? He goes, all right, we'll try it, we'll give you one. So we did it, Adam loved it. The crowd actually booed at the time, because I think we actually shot it in Talladega, and they were like, what the heck, boo! You know, which actually just egged me on to do it longer. Adam McKay always says, this is why it's always worth shooting an alternative to a scene. I was so happy that this got in.
Sir, you taste of America.
Thank you. And just a little thing, that voice that I'm doing, it's based on my old clown teacher, Philippe Gaulier, who speaks like this. You are on the chair of the bad student. You are not funny. You sit on the chair of the bad student. I was like, I need an accent for this guy, and I used Philippe's. So, Philippe, oh, that was yours. And this scene here was a 14-page scene, which is a lot, particularly for someone like me. who hasn't done that many scripted movies. And Alfonso Cuarón, the incredible director who's done Gravity, Tu Mama Tambien, and one of the better Harry Potters, he said, you know, I want this to be shot in one. In other words, no cuts, you can't stumble. And so I was a little bit intimidated. I said, do we really need, can't we cut around? And he said, no, cutting, I can't do the accent, cutting is an act of violence. We basically shot this scene in one go each time, 14 minutes, again and again and again. After about 11 takes of it, that's 11, 14, I don't know, what, 154, 2.5 hours of performance, he says, today was a rehearsal, tomorrow we'll do the scene. So it was exhausting because you're seeing this, I'm crying, I'm shouting, and now I'm looking at it, and there are edits. So Alfonso, what was this bullshit about not editing and it being an act of violence? Should have told me. I would have done the scene in 1.5 minute sections. Anyway, I'll carry on watching.
Who else has them?
I don't know.
You don't know? These could soon be all over the internet. Sit down. Look at them.
Who gave you those?
Look at them.
For me, with all the characters, it always comes from the language. What words do they use? What do they say? What ideas does that indicate about the character? What's their rhythm? And then you go into the performance, you know. What's the accent? What is the pitch of the voice? What's the rhythmical style? Then it's the costume. What do they wear? How do they walk? Are they authentic? You know, how do they change? With Robert, when I first read it, I didn't really understand him. I didn't understand why he went on this journey. So I said to Alfonso, let's work on the character because I can't play him at the moment. Together we went back and forth a lot with the language. And so I started having a lot of dinners with, you know, upper class guys. There were people I went to university with who I'd say, who were upper class. I said, can you organize a dinner with a bunch of posh twats? And then I'll observe them, but, you know, get to the dinner. And the guys would say, okay, so we're the posh twats. What do you want to know about us? And yeah, that was the beginning of the process of trying to find out who he was.
What is the most popular thing in the world?
Music.
No.
Tell me.
Ice cream.
This was shot before Donald Trump was president, long before Donald Trump was president. I always wanted to interview him. We go into Trump Towers, and I'm waiting in a room with the director who you hear off camera, a guy called James Bobin, and I can hear Trump screaming at the mayor. We hear him shouting at Giuliani in the other room on the phone, and it was kind of intimidating. And actually, having read up about Trump, I think he often would do that. I don't know if Giuliani was ever actually on the phone. But he came in, you know, he's an impressive guy and it's intimidating, and I knew I didn't have long. He had said to this director, James Bobin, who's like this good-looking, blonde, seemingly upper-class guy, he said, you know, are you interviewing me? And he said, no, this guy is. He looks at me, Ali G in the corner, and I can see Trump's face. He does not want to be interviewed by Ali G at all. And so he goes, all right, let's get this over with.
So my idea is what?
To make a drip-proof ice cream.
No. Oh, that's a fucking brilliant idea, this.
And so this didn't last long. It was really about me trying to get funding for this business scheme of an ice cream glove. He was pretty upset after it. Trump came out and criticized me a number of times after that. And we actually used clips of it to publicize and promote another TV show I did called Who is America. And we used some of his clips talking about me and how talentless I am. And yeah, I had no idea that he was going to become president of America.
Okay.
Is you win or is you win?
Okay, well, it sounds like a good idea, and I hope you make a lot of money. Good luck, folks. It's been nice seeing you. You take care of yourself, okay?
Is you going to be in on that?
Thank you very much for watching.